Be sharing the screen. Perfect. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you and welcome for joining GDG Cloud Thunder Bay event. It has been sponsored by Women Tech Makers.
I hope you guys are as excited as we are. Adya, did I say you that I couldn't sleep last night? I was so excited and pumped for this event. I'm so glad it is finally here and today I'll get to enjoy my sleep after the event.
Oh, Ananta. So for those who are new to the community and who do not know us, my name is Adya.
And I'm Ananta.
You can follow us on LinkedIn as being shown below. We will also be commenting our LinkedIn pages below.
Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are as nice as a puppy.
So we have been a part of Google Developers Group since the past 2 years now. We are a part of like-minded people who love technology, and we come together and grow and learn in events like these and try to build the community.
So as you guys know that there are not a lot of women in technology. So Google initiated a program called as Women Tech Makers so that women can come together and support each other and help us grow in the world of technology. Going back to the platforms that we have,
we have many platforms we'll be sharing with you, also shared in the comments. So for those who do not know where to find us, we are available on our community page. Link is here and we'll also be sharing in our comments. We have hosted a lot of events in our past 2 years. We always welcome new ideas to how the events need to be hosted or which kind of events would you like to see. So if you have any event, Firebase, Flutter, or any more sessions of Flutter, please let us know and we'll do the best for our community. So as already said, we are available on Instagram, Twitter, of course, and Reddit, which we'll be sharing in the comments. With your love, we have grown so much. So thank you so much.
keep showing us more love so that we can host these amazing events for you and make sure they are catered to everyone's need. So
that's really nice.
As received feedback from last session, we came to know that our community loves winning prizes. So even today, at the end of the event, we'll be having raffle prizes distributed amongst you all. So in order to win them and qualify for the raffle prizes, there are just two simple steps. First, you have to follow our community page, which is GDG Cloud Thunder Bay. Don't worry, we'll share the link so that you guys can easily click on it and reach the community page. Once you're registered, you should receive an email that you're registered as a member of GDG Cloud Thunder Bay. For those who have already registered, now you're just one step away. You have to post regarding the today's event either by sharing photos, either by commenting, tweeting, anything will do on platforms like LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram. Don't forget to tag us at GDG Cloud Thunder Bay so that we can also see the love that you have shown us. And finally, you'll be qualified for these raffle prizes. And don't forget that at the end of the session, we'll be announcing them. The lovely prizes will be given to one of you among the members. So stay tuned.
At the end, your patience would be tested. So all the best. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Roman. He has been a part of GDG way more than us. He is now a mentor of Northeast, has also been a Google developer expert for Flutter.
So, Mr. Roman, the platform is all yours.
Thank you so much, guys. I feel so welcome in this community. You guys rock. You guys are amazing organizers. So thank you again for the invitation. Thank you everyone for joining on a Saturday and being part of this amazing community. So the kudos to you. Thank you very much. So let me start sharing my screen real quick.
Sure.
Perfect. Can everybody see me? Can you just give me like a thumbs up? You know, some of the folks in attendance can give me a thumbs up. just make sure that everybody's there. Awesome, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, welcome. My name is Roman. I am a GDG Northeast mentor. The team was saying, I'm also a Flutter GDE. I recently became a Flutter GDE based on the passion that I have for Flutter. I've been a developer for quite a while, but mostly an enthusiast and an advocate for like great technologies and an amazing framework like Flutter. Please, don't hesitate to, show your appreciation and your enthusiasm for Flutter in the chat. You can drop us any questions along the way. Again, this event is for you. We want to bring you to these, great quality content and events like GDG Cloud Thunder Bay has been putting together, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to bring the community together, bring amazing events, make it fun. And of course, the actual goal is to bring the community together, bring quality stuff, and making you part of the experience. So we're very excited to have these type of events for you. So again, amazing thank you to this great community. Please drop in the chat also. Ananta, Adia, all of you guys can drop the link so everybody can join the GDG community of Cloud Thunder Bay if you haven't done so. But if so, have your friends join, because this is an amazing community. They continue bringing great quality events, and you don't want to miss anything, so make sure to join. These are some of my links, so you can join some of my social media links as well. I'm on YouTube. I have a channel where I post regularly about Flutter. I have a bunch of videos and trainings and great tutorials for you to check out. I'm going to be doing, and I've done in the past, some live streaming as well. You could just connect. You'll get notified of me doing live coding. You can just make fun of me or just accompany me in my journey of developing Flutter apps, like right in front of you. So these are cool things that I like to do with the community. Also, you can visit me on my portfolio site, Roman Just Codes. This is kind of like my brand, but I want to make it about everybody. I also like to preach about great best practices in the industry, not only Flutter, but also cloud and whatnot. And please follow me on Twitter at @DRCoders. I also there post great stuff like these events in there, quick tips and bits and Flutter tips and whatnot that you don't want to miss. So please, if you want to be connected with me, you want to DM me or some sort, you can just drop a message or follow me on Twitter. So I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much, everyone. Just wanted to put that out there, the community guidelines that we also need to abide by. Make sure, we're all adults here. We want to create like this amazing environment and very comfortable environment where everybody respects one another. So make sure to always be respectful, be collaborative, and participate. We want to make this, very engaging and make everybody welcome and be part of this community. So let's all follow the community guidelines from Google. So again, if some of you just came, stumbled upon this link and you're here, we're going to be talking about Flutter. Those of you who know Flutter, but this is for those of you who haven't heard Flutter. Flutter is an amazing framework, is an open source framework from Google that allows you to develop a lot of like multiple applications targeting from one single code base, targeting multiple platforms. You can do mobile, desktop, web, embedded, all from one single code base, just doing Dart. There's so much momentum behind Flutter, and this is the right time for you to join this movement. So that's what we want to make you part of this movement. So we're welcoming you here. So you're at the right time at the right moment. I want to make this very engaging, and I just want to get some feedback from you guys. Let's make it very very engaging. So I want to do like a little bit of an ice-breaking activity with you guys, and I want to make it very interactive. So I would ask you gladly to join Slido.com with the code 491853, and we're going to be doing some engaging questions and word clouds and whatnot, because I wanted to get the community behind it. We want to make sure to make this fun and engaging. We want to make you part of the experience. This is the type of events that I'm not just going to be sitting behind a screen and you're not doing anything. No, you're going to be part of this event. You're part of us. That's why we want to bring you along. So please join me at Slido.com with the code 491 853, you can open up another window, or you can even access it from your mobile device. So you can scan the QR code in there, and then I'm gonna pose like some questions and surveys and really cool stuff for you to like participate. And I want to get your feedback. So I'm going to give you a few seconds so that everybody can join at slido.com with the code 491. I can drop the code in here as well. The link is slido.com. And then you post with the code 491. Let me just drop it right here again, 491853. So if you just join with this code, I want to see the people joining in there, and just let's make it very engaging and very active. Again, it's not mandatory, but at least we want to see you guys participate. So like one of the first questions that I want to get from everybody is like, what is your level of expertise? Look, from 1 through 5, how would you grade like the level of coding expertise? Doesn't have to be Flutter. You could be anything. Do you do Python? You do web? You do Android? You do anything? Like, what type of coding expertise do you do? Are you a beginner? Are you introducing yourself into the industry right now? Are you a guru, like an expert or some sort? Just drop it in there. Like, what type of what's your coding level of expertise? I like to see like how the audience is as far as like multiple expertise, because that's what makes a community rich. It's not like for everybody to be an expert or everybody to be a beginner. We all feed off of each other. We learn from one another. Believe me, I learned from even junior developers that I mentor, because that makes me, again, that not only establishes a great relationship, but I learn something new every day. So just so happens to have this, so I can just measure the engagement and the level of expertise in the audience. I thank you so much, everybody, for participating. So I see that we are like in the intermediate level. Perfect. This session, and along with Pranav's, we're actually making this beginner friendly. But if you're an expert or an intermediate level, you're gonna pick up a thing or two. And that, I'm glad that everybody's able to join. Hey, Bhavna, how are you? Bhavna is a great friend of mine. Thank you for joining. Again, that's why I love like a lot of people coming together from different communities, just coming over, supporting these type of events. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for everybody for participating. So you see, like we have various levels of expertise. Everybody is welcome. Let's continue. So let's do another, like a word cloud. I know that everybody has like their preference, but let's see how it is. What's your IDE or code editor of choice? Like what's your, what makes you, what is the type of software that you code maybe on your everyday basis, or you do it maybe off hours? What is the type of, what's your personal preference? It could be personal preference, maybe what you do at work, but what type of IDE do you use mostly? And it doesn't have to be just for developing mobile applications. For example, like I do Visual Studio Code because I do Flutter, I do Android, iOS, but I do web, I develop in Python, I do backend. I even connect to Firebase, and I don't want to spoil Pranav's presentation, but he's going to show amazing things with Firebase, and you can even do that through through Visual Studio Code. So I love the various for example, like Eclipse. I remember using Eclipse also. That's amazing. Atom, I love Atom. Those are like some of those Electron-based type of editors. I love all of those. And you see, it doesn't matter which type of IDE you use, is what makes you more productive, what you feel more comfortable with. You don't have to go by, let's say, what I tell you or someone else tells you, unless, let's say, you're a little bit undecided, but you pick the IDE that makes you happy, that makes you more productive, and that you like. It's at the end, it's a personal preference. So I'm glad that everybody was able to participate, and I love everybody's participation. This is exactly what we wanted. Thank you, everyone. Now let's do like a little bit more of an icebreaker. And I'm going to be honest with you here. So after work, like whenever you do your 9 to 5 and then you spend all that time doing work, what do you do after work? Do you work on a side project? Do you just relax, forget about coding? You don't do anything. For example, are you binge watching the latest season of, Netflix Squid Game? Or are you doing, let's say, some of those other great series out there, like, Ted Lasso? I don't know. Like, do you like to watch movies? Do you like to do like arts and craft or whatnot? Or you do a mixture of both? That's kind of like what I do. Like, I like to do drawings. I like to do like arts and craft. but I also like to engage in a side project. So I try to keep like a very healthy balance on like doing coding and then doing something that I like, that I'm really passionate about, completely away from technology. So I'm glad that everybody here also like has that. So a bit of both is kind of like a good balance. I totally respect people who just say, hey, no, I do too much coding, I want to just relax and do something. So I'm glad that everybody is on the same page as well. Yes, I love. Yeah, that's awesome. I say, Chaitanya said, chill, lofi songs, and a side project. There you go. Exactly. Squid Game. That's right. I'm saying, like, it's so much fun. Like, and this is healthy because you want to, even after like watching something like that, you might even come up with a good idea. It's because your mind is relaxed and all that. So that's what you want to do. So thank you everybody for participating. So I love the fact that everybody is joining in this activity. Let's give you a live quiz, but it's something completely unrelated. We just want to, again, break the ice, make you relax before we start the event. So let's do a quick, small quiz. Remember this is just trivia. We don't want to make anybody nervous. Don't worry about it. Let's just join on the quiz. So tell me about it. Which was the most downloaded app this year? Think about it. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to think about it. Some people think like, because of the pandemic, maybe one app was mostly downloaded over another because of maybe the way that people interacted with it. So what do you think was the most downloaded app in 2021? Let's see. Some people say WhatsApp. Some people say TikTok. Maybe WhatsApp because people communicated with one another. That was a way for people to stay communicated. TikTok maybe because it made it very interesting. Maybe the people didn't want to message one another. So let's see what the answer is. The answer is exactly TikTok. So TikTok. There's one key aspect of TikTok, because even though it may, some people think like it's a silly application or whatever, but it was actually connecting people. And during the pandemic, it was really like very cumbersome to do that. And then TikTok allowed us to establish that personal connection, even if it was through an application. So that was actually the most downloaded application, believe it or not. Question number 2. Which of the following well-known apps were developed in Flutter? And hint is more than one. So the eBay application was developed in Flutter. Think about it. Maybe the BMW, Philips Hue. I actually work at Philips. The Philips Hue, the one that you change like the light bulbs and stuff like that. The Capital One, like the credit card company, or the Groupon. So a lot of people are towards eBay. Some say BMW, some say Philips Hue, Capital One, or even the Groupon one. Okay, what is the answer? The answer is all of them. You see, I got you there. That's exactly how the momentum in Flutter is. A lot of big companies are betting their like development efforts to do something in Flutter. Why? Because Flutter makes them so productive. With one single code base, just doing it in Dart and Flutter, they can target multiple platforms. They were able to do iOS and Android in one single code base, but then they wanted to develop it, let's say, for web. It was just a matter of just a little bit of some tweaking. And other than that, they were able to polish it. So I'm glad that everybody participated and that everybody tried their hand. So thank you very much for participating in this live quiz. Later, I'll have a few more, but I think it's time for us to get inside of the application already. So we're going to be doing coding right away. You right there, you're looking at me, you're going to be coding. You're going to be coding with me, or you can do it yourself. That's fine. But this session is to make it very hands-on. So has anybody heard of Dartpad? So Dartpad is a web-based IDE for Flutter. Believe it or not, in this session you don't have to install anything. You just have to open up another browser tab, and then you go to dartpad.dev. We're going to be using this great tool developed by Google for the Flutter developers so that they can be productive, and we can do events like this. So that there you go. So yeah, dartpad.dev. You go in dartpad.dev, and then you're able to code with me. You don't have to worry about downloading it for iOS or Android or setting it up for web. It's already set up for you. So I would invite everybody to go to dartpad.dev. Thank you, Ananta, for dropping the link. You just click on dartpad.dev and you will be able to code Flutter in a matter of minutes. So make sure to click on that link. Let's start. and we're gonna go. We're gonna move on with the event. So I'm hope that everybody is able to join. You can do it again on your own, at your own pace. I'm gonna be providing those links in a minute. So how to participate in this Flutter workshop? So this Flutter workshop, I'm calling it Code Roulette. So the Code Roulette, I mean by that is that I'm gonna pick a person from the audience, a person from the attendees randomly, if you wish to participate, of course. I'm going to pick someone random and I'm going to give you access to my IDE. You're going to be able to join remotely and you're going to be helping me code, but only like a section of the code. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you code the whole thing. We just want to make it very engaging and very interactive. So what we're going to be doing in this session is going to be completing these 2 code labs. I created these code labs specific for this session. So you're going to either follow along doing those code labs on your own. If you don't want to join the code roulette, that's totally fine, but you can do it on your own at your own page, just following along with us. So I'm going to be providing these 2 links. I'm going to be dropping it here on the chat. Give me 1 second. So let me just, I'll be dropping those links right now. And then we have the 2, we actually have 2 code labs, code lab 1 and code lab 2. So in the chat, I'm dropping, thank you, Mohammed. I'm dropping right now code lab number 1 and code lab number 2. So these are the 2 code labs that we're going to be doing in this session. If you don't, if you just want to watch and have fun and whatnot, you can do that, but you can also do these on your own. This is a 4-part code lab, but in this session, we're only going to be doing the first 2. Just so that I can see, you know, your juices going, your developer, you know, mindset on. Let's flip that on and let's start coding. So I wanted to do that. Then the second option of joining this session is actually joining the code roulette. The code roulette, I'm gonna drop this link also here on the chat so that you can put your name. Sorry about that. So that you can put your name and then I can pick your name out of a lineup. So let me do it right here. Let me just give you that the link right now. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. If you want to participate, just put your name, your first name if you want to only, and then I'm just gonna pick your name out of the list. So let me just do it right here. This is Flutter Code Roulette 1, and then this is the link. And then all you have to do is just put your name in there. So yes, very, very hands-on. So if you want to participate, again, option number 1, just follow along with the code labs. You can be at home. You can just do those 2 code labs and then you're good. If you're like a rock star, you want to fly through, you can even complete the other 2, but that's on your own. That's totally fine. But then the second option is on this link that I just pasted right now. You put your name in there and I'm going to pick your name out of a list. So I'm going to be using the wheel of names. That's why we're calling it Flutter Roulette. So out of that wheel, I will pick a name and say, for example, Ananta, can you help me code this piece of the code lab? You come in, you connect to my session. I'm going to give you a link. You're going to connect to my session. It's all web-based. You don't have to install anything. I'm going to give you a link at the time that I want you to join. And then you're going to start coding. You will see it's very easy. So again, 2 options. You either do the code labs along with us, the 2 links that I've just dropped, or you join the code roulette, but also you want to do the code labs at the same time. That's totally fine. We want to make this very engaging, very collaborative, very, hands-on. So please make sure to drop your name in there if you're interested. Let me see if I see a few people already joining. I'm gonna take a look at that just to make sure that like everybody's joining. If I see that a few people are there, and then we can take a look. Again, this is totally optional. You don't have to. I see a few people in there. I'm glad that you guys are my guinea pigs, and you're gonna test this out with me. So thank you guys for we have a few people, but that's totally fine. And you don't have to do it now. You can even do it later, as you feel comfortable. This is completely optional. It's not mandatory, but you'll see how fun it is. So let's proceed. I'm just going to jump out of the presentation, and now we're going to start with the session. So let me do it again. So everybody's going to join on dartpad.dev. So I'm going to open up again another tab, and then I'm going to say dartpad.dev. So you go to dartpad.dev. This is a web-based IDE for you to develop Flutter applications. Believe it or not, this IDE, you can build full-blown applications. Don't be fooled by just this being a web-based IDE that you cannot do much stuff. For example, let me show you one application that I just built very recently. For example, like here on Flutter on Dartpad, completely like inside of this IDE. I just completed it, like the whole thing with state management, all that. So like you can just drop code in here, for example, and you can just run it, and you see like full-blown application being developed in here. So I'm just going to show you like a quick one that I developed real quick. But this is something that I recommend for you to do it also like on your own. Like if you want to test like applications being built here on, you see, this is like a full application that you can build right there on the web, just dropping the code, and you can do like a lot of cool things in it. So it's amazing the fact that you can do like so many cool things in here on Dartpad. So definitely recommend it. Let's all go to Dartpad. So let me start again. So you guys don't get confused. So you open up anybody wants to say something?
Can you zoom
I
on
can
it?
definitely zoom. Perfect. So I can, for example, if you go to dartpad.dev, I'm gonna, for example, like here, my screen might be a little bit too, but this is, for example, I can zoom it in like this, and then you can see the code maybe. Can you see it right there? Like a little, perfect. So let's all go to dartpad.dev right here. This is the web IDE. And then on the top left, there is a button that says new pad. So it says new pad. So you click where it says new pad. And then it says create a new pad. What do you want to do? You want to discard the changes. So the first thing that you do is create a new pad. And then you say, yeah, discard the changes. That's okay. You click on OK. And then you pick either what do you want to do in this web-based IDE. Do you want to do Dart or you want to do Flutter? So you pick Flutter, and when you click on Flutter, make sure that it's selected, and then you click on Create. So you click on Create, and then now you get a brand new setup just for you, very unique for you. You don't mess up anybody else's. So just make sure that you do that. So you do new pad, discard changes is okay, select Flutter, and then you click on Create, and then that's it. Now here on the left-hand side, this is where we're going to be typing in Flutter. And then on the right-hand side is how you're going to be previewing how as you develop the application. So if you want to test whatever they give you like a little bit of a boilerplate code so that you can test it out, like a hello world. You can just click on this blue button here that says run, and then you click on run, and then you will see on the right-hand side like a preview of what you're building. So you're going to be continuously doing so as we make progress in the code lab. Is everybody good? Everybody on Dartpad just wanted to get a couple of thumbs up or plus ones, whatever you want to say. Is anybody behind or nobody's able to find Dartpad? Just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Perfect. Awesome. I'm glad that everybody's there. So you can even use it on your own after this session. Make sure that you're all on Dartpad. Perfect. Let's continue. So after you are in Dartpad and you see this hello world, after click and run, now let's go. I'm going to be dropping the link again to the first code lab. So we're going to be doing a code lab. This is going to be a very simple application that we're going to be building based on like a 3-page application. Is going to be like a touristic application. This application is going to have a splash screen, a landing page, and a details page where we have like a list of attractions and whatnot. So you may even think, wow, this is humongous. This is a lot. No, it's not. Actually, it's really easy to do. And you're going to be following along. Again, this is not for advanced developers. This is for even beginners, because I'm going to be taking you from zero to Flutter developer in no time, and then you immediately can start reaping the benefits. Is everybody ready? Now you can do is open up another tab if you want, where you have the link to this code lab, and we're going to be moving along. So on one tab you have Dartpad, and then on the other tab you will have the Flutter code lab number 1. Remember, this is a four code lab series. let's start with just the first one. And we don't have to complete the whole thing today, of course, because we have other amazing sessions following up. We have Pranav, so you're gonna have like a lot of fun during this session. But on your own, you're able to complete all of these. I'm gonna be dropping a link to other code labs that I have that you wanna continue learning and whatnot. So yes, let's have Dartpad on one side, the code lab on the other. Or if you just want to keep looking along, that's totally fine. It's all just so that we all come together. Okay. So is everybody able to see the code lab that I just dropped in there? Anybody not able to see it? I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Perfect. Awesome. Hey, Nav, we have a rock star in the house. Nav Singh. He's an Android GDE representing in the house from GDG Montreal. Thank you, Nav, for showing up. It's always a delight to have you on our events, giving validity to these events. So thank you very much. The folks from GDG Montreal just representing in the house, Nav. So let's continue and follow along on this code lab. So we have the code lab, you have the Dartpad. Now let's see who wants to participate in this. I'm gonna start creating like the boilerplate piece, and then I'm gonna be bringing people along to code along with me. How's that? Perfect. Let's start. So the first thing is the code lab. So we're gonna be, like I said, we're gonna be developing a 3-page Flutter application. It's going to be very simple. We're going to be learning about how to build Flutter layouts, how to create custom widgets, how to mock the data in Flutter, how to import network images, and using even the material icon fonts. So this code lab covers a lot of things, but it's going to start you from the beginning, like creating a very bare bones application starting from the beginning. So let's continue. So the first thing, you go to the next step. So I was on step number 1. Let's go to step number 2 on the code lab. So the prerequisites are, you just need to have a computer with a browser and you have an internet connection. That's it. That's all you require. We're going to be using Dartpad, like I mentioned, and we are on this code lab, which we will start in a minute. I'm going to be dropping something called, and you can use it on your own as well for collaboration, LiveShare. LiveShare is a Visual Studio Code plugin that allows for remote connection and for code collaboration. So that's what we're going to be using in this session. I'm going to be dropping a link in a minute, but at least I just wanted to make you aware of that plugin, that you can use it with your friends, with your colleagues, and do like code collaboration. You just give them a link. They remote connect via a web-based connection, and they can connect to your Visual Studio and code along with you. You will see that. So let's proceed to the next step. So step number 3, launching Dartpad. I explained already how to launch Dartpad, but you can see here the explanation. So you go to dartpad.dev, you set up the Flutter development by saying new pad, then you pick a new pad, you select Flutter as your environment, because you can also do like just Dart. You could do like stuff on Dart only, but at least we're going to be using Flutter for the sake of this workshop. And then you can just hit run, and exactly the way that I explained it earlier, everybody should be good. Now let's proceed with step number 4. You see how we're flying right away? So you feel like, your developer juices are pumping. Let's start. The initial setup is this. So we're going to be creating a splash screen. It's going to be a very bare bones first page that we're going to have, like usually all applications have, like a splash screen, something that you present to the user, maybe with the logo of your application of some sort. So let's try to do that. So in Flutter, everything is a widget. Just keep that in mind. You see, like we're starting right away. Flutter as a framework divides the components. They don't call them components, they call them widgets. So any button, a text widget, an image, a container, a row, a column, an icon, everything is a widget. Remember this, everything in Flutter is a widget. Just keep that in mind. So as you see here, the schematics that I put together, this is how we're going to be constructing this user interface with a bunch of widgets, like a container widget that has a widget that aligns the icon in the middle, and so on. You may be foreign to some of these terms, but as soon as you start seeing the code, you're going to be immediately familiar with that. So let's proceed. The first thing that we're going to be doing is coding this application. So the first thing that you're going to do is importing the package, the Flutter package, and starting with the main method of this application. Every application usually has like a main method. For example, like even Nav would tell you that an Android application has like a way to bootstrap itself, like a main method that starts the application initially. So Flutter also has that. So I want you to accompany me. Let's go to Dartpad. In your IDE, let's clear everything. The first thing you're gonna do here is just delete everything. Yeah, believe me, we're gonna start from scratch completely. So the way that you do that is you either highlight everything in the IDE in Dartpad. Let's say if you want to start that way, just delete everything. Let's start from scratch. We're going to start this application from the very beginning. So we don't want anything on the IDE. Make sure that there's nothing in there. Now we're going to go back to our code lab. If you decide to copy it yourself or type it yourself, please do so. I'm just going to copy this, the first little chunk of code that I have, and then I'm going to explain it. So I'm going to copy the code in here, the starting of the application, and I'm just going to drop it right in here. Can anybody see the code? I'm just going to zoom it in a little more. So the first thing that you need to be aware of in every Flutter application is you need to import the packages that contain like the core capabilities of your Flutter application. In this case, I'm going to be using the material library. For, let's say, the material library can work on Android and iOS, but the material, you can do it, it's actually mostly developed for Android, but you can use it to create like very custom, unique experiences. So the first line is you import the package. The second thing, you create a main method. The main method is the most important method in the application. Why? Because it's the one that bootstraps your application. So right now, I've only done two things and you already have something. So you have the import, make sure that you all have it. And then you create a void main method that is the most important method in the Flutter application because it starts everything up. So I'm glad that everybody's following along, and that's where you have it. So right now you may be, wow, what do I have? Nothing? Yes, but this is very good to start this way. Let's go back to the code lab, and then I'm going to go right down to this other chunk of code. I'm in step number 4 for those of you following along. Thank you, Mohammed, for that confirmation. I'm glad that everybody is joining along. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is this run app method, which I will explain in a minute. So you can copy that and you add this code inside of the void main. So let's go back to our IDE. And inside of the main method, you're going to drop this little bit of code, which I will explain now in a minute. So this code means inside of the main method, the framework, Flutter framework, has a method called run app. It's part of the framework. So you say run app. Run app means start the application with a root widget. So everything in Flutter is a widget, even the application itself. The whole application is a widget. It's just a massive widget. So everything in Flutter is a widget. So the first thing that we do is mount the first widget in the widget tree. The widget tree is nothing more than the hierarchy of all the components that your application has. So we start with a widget called material app. So that is the whole application is even one single widget. So you call the main method. Then inside the main method, you call a method run app. Run app then requires a widget. In this particular case, the app widget. So the app widget gets added. Then you have like some properties in here, like debug show check mode banner. This is just a property that shows a little sash when you're like in debug mode, but you can set it to false because you don't need it. But then this material app widget has a property called home. Home then is a widget that will be displayed as the home page, like it's going to fill the screen with another widget. So you see the material app is a widget, but it doesn't display anything. You need to give it a home so that then it lands right there on that home widget in this case, like the first widget that you're going to see. So in this particular case, we're going to be creating a widget called splash page. You see that splash page has a red line underneath it. That means it doesn't exist. So we're going to be creating that widget. So from day one, you're going to learn how to create custom widgets in Flutter. Flutter, remember, everything in Flutter is I know nobody can scream it, but I know in your mind, make sure that everything in Flutter is a widget. Every time, think about that. I see people doing it. Yeah. Thank you guys. I promise that whenever we do an event in person, I'll have everybody say it at the same time. So yes, so everything is a widget like that. Perfect. So now that we have our main method, the run app method, and the first widget, which is the material app, which doesn't show anything, but then it has a property called home. We're going to be adding a widget to the home. You can add any type of widget. You can add even a text widget if it's like what the first thing that you want to see. But we want to make a widget that takes up the whole page. And we're going to be calling it splash page. Let's go back to the code lab. So you see here, you should be on step number 4. You should have your code should look like this. So you should be good at this point. You should be good. Perfect. Now let's proceed to the next page, where we're actually going to be creating the splash page widget. So everything in Flutter is a widget. Even pages are widgets. You can create widgets out of other widgets, so it's still called a widget because you can call it a composable widget, or like a widget based on composition, because you bring other widgets and make your own custom widgets. So every custom widget either has to inherit from a stateless class, like a stateless widget, or stateful widget. I'm gonna just be brief on this. Everything in Flutter is a widget, but it has to inherit from either one of these two classes. Stateless widget means it's a widget that just renders on the screen, doesn't maintain any state, and it just paints on the screen and it's done. But a stateful widget, like the word says, stateful, it maintains a state, and then it even during the lifetime of your application, it can re-render itself based on the changes on your state. Some of you may heard like things about like state management in Flutter. Those are things that do go with like let's stateful, because you want to maintain state. Your widget is not like immutable. It re-renders itself based on changes to the state. We're going to be doing that in this code lab. So make sure to pay attention. So we're going to be just rendering something on the screen, no maintaining any state. So we want to make it extend state widget like this class right here. Then now every widget, every custom widget needs to override a method called build. Why? The build method is the most important method in a widget. Don't get confused with the main method. The main method is the most important method in the application, but every single widget has a build method. The build method is the most important method in a widget because the Flutter framework calls your build method and then it renders things that you put inside of your build method. What you see on your screen gets called because you put it inside of the build method. The Flutter framework calls the build method for you. It's like, for example, Nav will tell you that in Android, let's say you have onCreate or onCreate view, and those are like lifecycle widgets in Android that render like a fragment or an activity. In Flutter, you have something called build. The Flutter framework calls build, and then you put whatever you want to render on the screen inside of this method. So now that I gave a few folks a chance to join the the code roulette. Now I'm going to bring somebody up to the screen. So let's do this. I need somebody to help me create the first custom widget, which is the splash page. I already have a few folks in the subscribe. I'm going to be putting these folks in my wheel of names, and I'm going to bring them up to the screen. So I have Pranav, I have Ashiana, I have a few folks in there. So thank you very much for participating. Very exciting, right? Don't be nervous. We're all, it's all family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the wheel. If I pick somebody, I will grab that person, and then I'm going to give you a link. Actually, I'm going to give a link for everybody. Anybody can just join, but only one person will be able to have read and write capabilities, so you can write it with me on the code, like on Visual Studio. You will see that in a minute. So please, you guys can continue doing Dartpad. I'm going to switch over to Visual Studio so that I can do these capabilities, but it's the same thing. Remember, so I'm going to be doing Visual Studio Code. This is the code that I'm going to be working on, and this is exactly what I want people to do with me. So you're going to follow along with me on Dartpad. I'm just going to switch to Visual Studio Code so that you guys can see what I do. And I'm going to be even using a real emulator. So whatever you guys do, we can immediately see it on the emulator. Is everybody ready? So I'm going to spin the wheel with these 6 people that I have. So I'm going to spin the wheel. When I pick somebody, actually, all of you will join, but only one person will go up. So let me just spin the wheel. That's why we're calling it Flutter Roulette, because we're going to pick somebody who's going to help me code. So let's see who's going to help me. Avneet, are you online? You don't have VS Code, Ashiana. It doesn't matter. Why? Because this is web-based. That's what's cool about it. You don't need Visual Studio Code. If you have a browser right now, you will be able to join. Let me show you. So now Avneet is going to come up. So this is how we're going to do it. I have Visual Studio Code. You don't need Visual Studio Code. You don't need Visual Studio Code. Let me make it clear. You don't need Visual Studio Code. This is something called Live Share. So this is a plugin that I click, and you see I'm going to start a collaborative session. I have the collaborative session, and I already have it already in my I have it in my clipboard. I'm going to drop the link here on the chat. Everybody, if you want to join, you could, but make sure that you join it via the web. Don't do it via Visual Studio, like Ashiana said. So this is how it's gonna look for you. When you drop it in the browser, you're gonna get prompted like to open Visual Studio, but don't do Visual Studio. Stay on the browser. I encourage you guys to use this also on your day-to-day, like if you want to collaborate with other people. So make sure that you say continue as anonymous. Do not sign in. Let's still keep it anonymous, but when you say anonymous, it's gonna pop up this prompt up here, and then you're gonna put your name. So what your name is, you're gonna put it. Put your own name. Let's say in this case, I'm gonna say Roman, for example. Now Roman is gonna appear in my session, and I'm gonna give that person that privileges to access my code and help me code. So I encourage you guys use this with your friends, with colleagues, and whatnot. So remember, continue as anonymous, put your name, and then you join the session. So I'm gonna say Roman Evil Twin, because I don't want to confuse it with other people. So I'll say Roman Evil Twin, and then you will see that through the browser, I will be able to see the code that I will be sharing. So I'm gonna keep it off on the side, and then you see, oh, perfect. A lot of people are joining. Thank you. Awesome. So now who's gonna help me do it? Avneet. So Avneet, you're gonna come up and let me see if I see you. If you're still having issues, let me know. We can help you out. But I should be able to see your name in the participants list, or I can just drop myself and then you can join, or I give you privileges in any other way. But at least, okay, perfect. So you guys see that Avneet is showed up here. There's Avneet. So Avneet, I'm going to give you read-write capabilities. I'm just gonna come over and say make read-write. You will be able to see the code, and then let me know if you're able to find the prompt. So now what I will have you do for me, please, is to help me code the first custom widget that we have, which is a splash page. So right under the main method, I would want to create a custom widget called a splash page, which will represent the splash page that we will create. Let me know, Avneet, if you're able to see the code and you have read-write capabilities. Yes, Ashiana, yes, you can use it. And you see Avneet, he's typing already. So let me know if you're able to type it. I'm just gonna be hands-off so you can type whatever you see here on the left-hand side. So I'm just gonna zoom in a little more. If maybe, I don't know if you're able to see it as well. But here's the code that we wanna do. For those of you who are not joining on the Wheel of Names, you can continue along. That's totally fine. But Avneet is gonna help me out by creating the first splash page, which is just a class that extends stateless widget, and then he's going to override the build method. Remember we said that the build method is the most important method on a widget? Got it. So Avneet, are you able to see? Let me help you out here. So let me know if you're able to type. And then all we want you to type is the first class that says splash page extends stateless widget. Like I mentioned, when you create custom widgets, you either make them stateful or stateless. So we're gonna be inheriting stateless widgets because it's gonna be a very basic widget. So every widget you started extending stateless widget, and you override the build method. So Avneet is gonna start typing, and then I'm just going to, he's gonna be my assistant, and that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. You see, it's very simple. You just create a small class. You can name it anything you want. In this particular case, Avneet is calling it splash page because we wanted to match the widget that we are creating that will be the home of that material app page. So you either do stateful or stateless. In this particular case, he's making it a stateless widget because it's not going to maintain any state. Every custom widget has to override the method called build. So he's typing it up right now where he's doing override and then he's doing the build method. So the build method is the most important method on a widget because the Flutter framework calls it on your behalf and then just renders whatever you put in there. In this particular case, Avneet is just going to return a stack. A stack widget, and you're going to see it in a minute, a stack widget that stacks components or elements in a layered fashion, like one on top of each other right in front of you. So you see, I can help you out here, Avneet. That's totally fine. So you meant to create it like this to just have the override method with the build method. So thank you very much, Avneet. Just let's give a hand for Avneet because he helped me create the first class. I'm gonna bring you back to read only, Avneet. Thank you so much for collaborating. And let me just now, after I do this, and we have our first widget. You see how simple it was. Avneet was able to create his first widget. Very custom widget that is just a simple stack. It doesn't show anything. It's just a stack. So now let me save. I'm going to rebuild my class. Remember in Flutter, when you're doing it via the IDE, you use the Flutter framework and you say Flutter run. Flutter run, what it will do is just compile your application and then it's going to deploy it on a device. In this particular case, we're going to deploy it, let's say, on an iPhone. So it's going to take just a minute. You won't see anything because remember, a stack is just a widget that lines things up, but we don't have anything inside of the stack. So thank you, Avneet, again for contributing. Oh, I'm sorry, Avneet, it's a she. Sorry about that. I just the name confused me. Sorry about that. So thank you very much for your contribution. So thank you. Sorry about that. Yes. So now it's gonna be we're gonna continue. I hope you join again, Avneet. So I would love for you to come again. So let me just finish this piece right here. It's just building. That's all it's doing. But what I can do is continue down the line, and I'm going to show you. I need somebody to help me out now, creating the first child of this stack. A stack is one of those widgets. You have multiple types of widgets in Flutter: single child widgets or multi-child widgets. How would you know which one is which? Because some widgets have a property called child, which just takes one. And then you have other widgets that have a property called children, which takes an array of widgets. So you either have single child widgets, like like the material app, or you have a multi-child widgets like the stack, which takes a children. And we're going to show you now that in a minute. So I'm going to bring up the emulator. It's going to come up now in a second. So you will see now the application just launching up and it's blank. Now I need somebody to help me out in adding, for example, I'm going to just add the next thing, which we need just like a color, kind of like a global variable to represent a color. I'm going to do that for you. So I'm just going to copy that and I'm just going to drop it here like up top. Again, it's usually, not a good practice to have like, like global variables like this. But again, for the sake of this tutorial, you can just keep it there for now. All this is doing is just creating a constant property that will represent the color that we'll use for this application. So we're calling it main theme color. So now I'm going to pick somebody to help me out in adding adding children to the stack. So now we're going to be creating a container. A container is one of those versatile widgets in Flutter that allows for painting, allows for resizing, allows for positioning. So a lot of things you can do with a container. You can use it as again, to contain other things, to group things together. It's kind of like a div on a web, something like that. So now I'm going to pick somebody to help me out. I'm going to spin the wheel again. I'm just going to click in here. I'm going to pick, and then somebody will come up. Did anybody else join the wheel of names? You joined the wheel of names. I'm going to add you to the list. So let's see, Pranav, now you're going to join me in this session. I'm going to add you to the list because, so let me just add you here. Perfect. And then in the next round, you will be able to come up. Perfect. So now I'm going to bring Pranav up. Pranav, thank you again for participating. So I'm going to make you read write. So read write. Pranav now is going to come up and he's going to create a container as a child of the stack. Remember, stack is a multi-child container. It's a multi-child widget. You can add one single widget, but within the children property. So stack allows you to stack or like to lay the items one on top of each other in a layered fashion. So the way that Pranav is doing it, he's actually going to be creating a children array. And then inside of that array, he's going to be creating a container widget. That container widget will actually take up the whole screen and is going to fill it up with the container. Inside of that container, he's only going to be providing a color. So container has properties for color, width, height, and stuff like that. So now he's going to be using the property that we set up above called main theme color. And then that's it. Pranav is done. So now I'm going to save. Pranav, thank you very much. I'm going to bring you back again to read only. And then let's see what Pranav did. So I save. And remember, one of the hottest, forgive the pun, one of the hottest topics in Flutter is the hot reload. So without even me rebuilding the application or completely rebuilding it, all I have to do is just say control shift R, and then it just reloads the application, and then you see. So what Pranav did was he created a container inside of a stack as a child, but is a one single child inside many children that you can add on a stack, and he added a background color. Then he filled up the screen. So you see the splash is kind of taking shape. So now let's proceed and go to the next piece. So I need somebody to add an icon as part of this splash screen on top of the container, because it's going to be a child of the stack as well. So we're going to be aligning. We're going to align is another widget. We're going to be aligning that icon on top of that container. So who's going to be that next person? So I'm going to be spinning the wheel one more time. And then Ashiana, now I hope that you're very excited as I am. I want to see you come up. So I'm going to see if you're connected. And there you are. Let me know when you're ready. I'm going to give you read and write capabilities, and you're going to come up. So now you're going to be coding on inside of this stack. You're going to be creating one more child, which is an align widget. So if you can see the code, it's actually right underneath the container. So remember that the stack aligns widgets on top of each other in a layered fashion. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So I want you to add one widget that sits on top of the container that looks like an icon, is going to be like an icon, like right on top of it. So that's exactly what you're going to be doing. Let me know if you're having issues finding the cursor location. This is pretty much where you need to be, where my cursor is. You can follow that, and then you can start from there. Awesome. Let me know if you're running into any issues. Are you still read only? Let me try it again. So I'll say make read write again. Let me know. I hope. Okay, perfect. There you are. I think I need to do like a double tap. So perfect. So Ashiana is helping me out creating an align widget. Align widget, you even have a bunch of widgets in Flutter that provide alignment. There are ones called align. There's one called center. There's one called like positioned. So you have a bunch of type of widgets. You have a lot of type of widgets that provide alignment to your Flutter applications. Alignment, what alignment does is aligns it to whatever you specify the alignment to be. Exactly. I can perfect. So Ashiana is even helping me out with alignment. Forgive the pun, with the alignment of the code. So she's going to be doing the alignment, and the alignment is going to be on the center. So explicitly, we're saying align this widget on the center of the screen. She's typing it right now, alignment.center, that is the property. And then inside of that alignment widget, then you add any widget. And then that widget will in turn be aligned for you. So the child widget that she's adding is an icon. So an icon is another one of those Flutter widgets that give you that versatility to bring icons into your application. Icons are vector-based, very sharp, like character based, some of them are like glyph based, but make like those icons like super sharp. And then that's what I encourage people to use. You can use like the yes, and Chaitana says, when we say icons.pool, we are not specifically saying which icon to pick. Yes, icons.pool, you're actually saying from the material icons library, you want to pick that icon. So it's an icon called pool inside of the icons library from the material icons library. So here you're saying it's an icon that is a pool. So you see, like now she's going to be adding the color to that icon. She's going to be making it white. And also the size, you can specify a size and like in pixels. So in this particular case, we're adding a color to that widget, and we're adding a size. And I will be sharing also the material icons library from Google that you can also use in your, you can also use that in your Flutter applications, in your web applications. Yeah, the icon is pool. No, a pool. No, yeah. So, for example, if you see it there, Chaitana, yes, your point is correct. But that is the library that I'm using, the which comes as part of the library. And perfect. I believe Ashiana is done, so I'm going to give her again. I think yes. Will you finish the size, and then I'm going to bring you back to read only. Thank you again, Ashiana, for contributing. I like the fact that you were able to help me out with this code. Thank you so much. So you see, there's an align widget inside of the stack, which has alignment center. There's a child, which is an icon, and is the icon's pool, which is a little pool, like a guy swimming. You can have other type of icons. And Chaitanya, like the when you said, when you do dot on the icons, you see you get like a bunch of other icons as well. So like an AC unit like that. It's the whole library that you get. So we pick the pool one, and then you do it like that. So you do the color. You usually get like these guys here, like adding const. This is something that I added to my application, which you can actually do. Like it's a little bit more advanced, but I can definitely let you in on these. Usually some of these widgets are better to create them as constant widgets. If your widgets don't have anything variable in it, like a variable, you can just create it as a const, so that you can just get rid of that like wiggly. You can just say const align like that. If your widget doesn't have anything that is dynamic, you can just make it const align. And then that way is because I have like a linting for Flutter, but you can just even ignore that. It will still work, but you can just do it like that. You can even just say ignore, prefer const like that. So you can do stuff like that. But I would encourage you to use like const widgets. Const widgets actually contribute with the performance, because they reuse existing widgets that are in memory and they just leverage it. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that, because it's really simple, very straightforward. So now let's see what Ashiana created. So I'm going to save and reload. Let's take a look at the emulator. We should be able to see something in there as soon as I reload. And there it is. Ashiana created her first widget. So she created an icon right in the middle of that screen. And that said, we have something that looks pretty much like a splash screen, right? You see, it's very simple. In Flutter, everything is simple. You can paint every pixel on the screen. Nav asks, when to choose which widget for alignment, for example, center or align. That's a very good question. Align goes more when you really want to position things in a precise location, because align only has top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, center right, and like those precise coordinates. Position is, let's say, when you really want to do X and Y specific coordinates, like pixel by pixel coordinates. That's the position. Center works for like a lot of things. Like center is just in the center. But if you want to use either between align or center, it's up to you. That's what's cool about Flutter. It gives you that flexibility. You can say center, or you can use align center, and then it's the same thing. The great thing is that it gives you that flexibility. But align, let's say, if programmatically you want to use an align and programmatically align it to the left, you cannot do that with the center. But with the align, because it's already centered, you can programmatically change the alignment property, and then you could do something with that. But center is only for center. Align you can do for center, left, right, top, bottom, and all of those. Chaitanya says, if I have two icons in the screen, do they need two different alignment widgets? Correct. If you're using it in a stack and you align both on the center, they will be, of course, on top of each other. If you want to make them one align to the top, one aligned to the bottom, of course, you need separate alignments and separate widgets. If you want them to be like one on top of each other, maybe you can use a column and then align the column to the center, so you can do any of that. So, Ashiana, I think you still have read write. So let me bring you back to read only, so that you are good to go. So are you good? Perfect. Let's continue right down the line. So now we're just going to do something else with this screen. We're going to be adding a linear progress indicator. We're going to have something that will, Ashiana says, should align be inside a container. If you add it inside of a container, the alignment may not act like very well. Like, for example, inside a container itself has alignment to it. Let me show you. For example, container has an alignment property, so it kind of works a little bit like align, but it has its own thing. Alignment in a container aligns the child containers. Align widget aligns the whole widget. Container alignment is like for the children. Align widget aligns the widget that is actually wrapping it. So if you add an alignment inside a container, you may have a little bit of a conflict. It's still doable, you can do it, but alignment, I would recommend to do it more inside stacks, inside a column, and those type of widgets. But yes, you can definitely, if your case needs it, you could have an alignment inside of a container, but you might as well use the alignment inside of a container, which kind of already saves you one widget. And remember, you're trying to be efficient. Thank you very much for your question. So let's continue. Who's going to help me out now with creating a little bar at the bottom of this widget that represents a progress indicator? So you see that right now in our widget, we have a stack in a custom widget, a splash screen. We have a stack with two children. We have a container. We have an align widget. Now I want to add another widget to align it at the bottom, which is like a progress indicator that represents kind of like an activity going on. So who's going to help me out with that? Let me pick that person. Did anybody else join? Okay, we're still good. So let's just spin the wheel. Let's see who's going to help me out. We're just going to be creating like something that represents that something is going on. It's kind of like a fake splash screen, right? Perfect. Okay, so Bayu, am I pronouncing your name correctly? I hope I am. And you're going to come up now. Let me see if I see you in the list. And there you are. I'm going to bring you up now to code. I'm going to give you read and write capabilities. Let me know if you have them right now. There you go. Read and write for you. And now what you're going to be doing is adding one more widget that will represent the progress indicator. So the progress indicator, you have two types of default progress indicators. You can even create your own if you want. But in this particular case, we're leveraging the progress indicators available in Flutter in the material library. So we have two: circular progress indicator or linear progress indicator. So you for example, inside of a stack, you just don't add a widget. Like Nav was asked, you add a widget. Do you what is the difference between adding a center or aligning? And what Chatyanja said, like, do you align it? Yes, inside a stack, you have to wrap it inside an alignment or a position widget if you want like precise pixel by pixel location. Alignment already gives you out of the box alignments like bottom, left, right, top left, top right, and so on. So now what Bayu is doing, he's aligning this new widget to the bottom of the screen, bottom center. So he's doing an alignment bottom center. That way the widget immediately is going to just stick to the bottom of the screen and he's going to be aligned there. So you see, I like all these widgets that give you all these alignments. You can just use them right out of the box, and it gives you like that, slick kind of look. And in very little bit of code, then you're able to do this. So you see, I know you guys are having fun just looking at me, moving my hands and talking, and you guys are doing all the typing. And no, this is actually what I wanted to do. The way that you learn Flutter is by coding, by building widgets. It's not, yes, you can watch a video, you can follow a tutorial, but if you don't exercise your Flutter muscle, you don't learn Flutter. There's no other way around it. Now I know that Ashiana was able to create a widget. Now she's able to create an icon widget. Bayu is now creating an align. Pranav is also doing it. Everybody's contributing and collaborating. coding, building little widgets, building applications. That's how you learn Flutter. So unconsciously, you're already learning all of this stuff. So let me just bring this up here. And you see that now, again, Bayou is doing an align widget. He's aligning it to the bottom center. He's wrapping now a linear progress indicator, which will just perform a, it just shows you a line, just like spinning, like just moving left and right. And then you see how the linear progress indicator works. You have to give it a color, and then you have to give it a property called always stopped animation. So it animates the color, uses like a background color. It uses a specific color. So just here, we're giving it the value color. The value color is that main color that is moving. So that is the one that we're making right now. So we just made a color, like give it a white with a 0.4 opacity. So it's not like white completely. It's just like 40%, opaque. And that's exactly what we're doing. So I think we're done up to this point. Now, let me, Bayou, thank you so much for contributing. I'll bring you back to read only, and totally appreciate you contributing. I think you should be good. Let me now save what you did and rebuild, and let's see what it looks like. So after rebuilding, we should be able to see something at the bottom of the screen, kind of like spinning a little bit. Yeah, it's rebuilding right now. Let me just do it right now. You can do even Shift R, and then it reloads. You can hardly see it, but it's right there, like the linear progress indicator. I can even do something like change like the minimum height of that is like, let's say 20 pixels, for example. That's another property that you can use, and you can even add it. Now you see something at the bottom of the screen like moving. That is the linear progress indicator. So it's something easy that you can just drop on your screen, and you can leverage the existing widgets that you have. And that's it. Boom. Here you are. You created a very simple splash screen. You created a linear progress indicator. We created an icon in the center. That's all a splash screen is. Now what we're going to be doing, we're going to be going into a little bit more much cooler stuff, adding more interactivity to this application. How's everybody doing? I just wanted to get some thumbs up from people, just making sure that everybody's still engaged. Everybody's coding. My fingers are resting because at least you guys are doing most of the work, because I want you to learn. I already know Flutter. I want you to learn Flutter. So that's exactly what we're doing. So thank you very much, everybody. I see a lot of thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys, for participating. So again, those of you who are doing it on your own, I hope you're rocking and you're way ahead of us. If you want, you continue on the codelabs. You can continue doing it on your own outside of this session. But I want to bring everybody together in this session. So let's proceed and let's continue with the next one. So now after we finish the splash page, we're going to be creating like a dummy landing page, because remember, this code lab depends on having like a landing page like this one, or we're going to be creating like the list page on the right hand side. But at least what I want to take away from here is this collaborative coding exercise that we're doing. We don't have to create this whole thing today. You can do it on your own outside of here. But at least what I want to get you guys to go with is, with the content that I'm providing, in the fact that you're coding Flutter for the first time, and you see how easy it is. You could have started today with no Flutter knowledge. Now you know at least what a stack is, how to create an icon, how to lay things in the screen, and how to even how to use dartpad and stuff like that. So let's proceed. Bayu, do you still have read write, or is still read only? Okay, good. Because okay, you still read only. Perfect. Let's continue. So now we're going to be creating like a dummy landing page, because we're going to be simulating the splash screen, doing a little bit of spinning, and then navigating to the next page. That's another important topic in Flutter, which is navigation. Navigation is just the ability to transition from one page to another. And of course, you know that all applications have more than one page. So you want to be able to learn about navigation in Flutter, which is also like, it's kind of like a stack, because it just puts another page right on top of each other. And then you're building like a navigation stack. The same concept is applicable like in Android. Like, if you guys want to join Nav's Android sessions, which are amazing, he also explains some of those topics as well. So those topics are very, they cross over multiple platforms. So navigation in Flutter is no different from other type of navigations. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing now. Let's create a dummy landing page, a page that we will land after the splash page. So who's going to help me out doing that? Let me pick somebody. So I'm going to just spin the wheel one more time. Very excited. Everybody nervous. Who's going to go? All right. We have one of our organizers. I hope she's able to join us. So Ananta, you're up. If you're connected, let me see. Are you up? Perfect. So now let me bring you up. I want you to help us. You're read only. Let me make you read and write. There you are. I hope you are able to find your way around the document. And what I want you to do is just, I'm going to help you just find like a spot anywhere in the document exactly. Let me just like scroll this all the way down in the document. Under the splash page, I want you to help us create a completely new widget. This widget will represent that list page that we're creating. We're actually going to be calling it list page. So just find your way like all the way down. I'm going to put the cursor down here if you're able to find it. So all the way down here. Perfect. So Ananta is going to be creating another custom widget. This widget will represent that list page that I showed you. So she's going to be creating a page for this. You see that you notice that in Flutter, I don't say like page widget or like screen widget or this other widget. No, everything is a widget. Even a page is a widget. The whole application is a widget. So you make it whatever you want it to do. So hold on. Let me help you with the first piece. So you're going inside of the build. You want to be able to create the class first, Ananta. So go back over here so that you see it. Or did you create it? Okay, perfect. There you go. So first creates the class. Exactly. Remember, when you start a custom widget, you create a class that either inherits from stateful widget or stateless widget. So what Ananta is creating, she's creating a class that extends stateless widget because we're just going to render. And this page will just take up the whole screen. So you can consider a widget something small or something as big as your whole page. Everything is a widget in Flutter. Everything in Flutter is a widget. So I like the way that she created it. She was able to leverage what she had. In this list page, again, it's just like any other widget. We're going to be navigating to that widget. So she's overriding the build method. Every time you create your own custom widget, you have to override the build method. In this case, she is overriding the build method with a new widget that we are going to be seeing right now, which is the scaffold widget. A scaffold widget is one of the most versatile widgets and one of the most used, let's say when you're creating a full page widget, because it gives you capabilities of adding a title bar, a menu, which they call a drawer. It gives you ability to add like the body of the widget, and then you create like the scaffold, kind of like the shell of a full page widget. So exactly what she's creating is a scaffold widget that gives you a body, and then the body just represents the middle, like the meat of that widget. Inside of that scaffold widget, you can add a bottom bar, a title bar, a drawer, etc. So Ananta just completed the widget. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna let you finish indenting that way right there. But other than that, you are all set. So she was able to create our second custom widget. Now I'm gonna bring you back to read only, and I want to say thank you so much. You typed it so quick. That was amazing. It shows that you've been doing Flutter, so that's pretty good. So let me make you back to read only. So I'm glad that you were able to do that. Yeah, that's right. Perfect. So you see, it's very simple to create another custom widget. Widgets are cheap. Create as many widgets as you can, because creating multiple widgets allows you to achieve widget composition. Widget composition is nothing more than creating a bunch of widgets, and then every widget has its own build method. By having each one its own build method, you compartmentalize the widgets by making it very efficient. Everybody has its own little structure, as opposed to everything being inside one gigantic build method, which is not efficient. So a build method, it's good practice to do it like this. So now let's continue. So now how do you show this list page? She just created that, but now if I, let's say if I save this and then I reload, you will still see the splash screen. I don't see anything else. I want to see this list page that she created. How do we do that? So if you continue to the next step, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be able to land to that page. From the splash page, we want to be able to go to this page. So the splash page is going to take like 2 seconds. We're going to do like a little bit of a delay. Then after the delay, we're going to navigate to that next page. So navigating to that next page, it will just require to tap into the navigation frame, the navigation package, or the navigation components, which is kind of like a widget also, that allows you to transition from one page to another. So now we're going to be on step number 7, and we're going to be doing that simulation. Who wants to help me now tap into what Ananta just created, which is that the whole list page, and now creating the simulation? I'm going to spin somebody else. Hope you don't get dizzy. I'm spinning everybody. I'm going to pick somebody, and you're going to help me now create a little bit of a delay. We're going to leverage a couple of things on Flutter. Oh, so you're up again. So stay right there. Is this random? You're up again. So let me bring you back again. That's the good thing about randomization. That, you can get picked again. So perfect. You're back again on read write. So now what Ananta is going to help us out is doing something called a future. Those of you who are familiar like with threads or promises in JavaScript, or like threads in Java and whatnot, and you can perform like a delay, future is just that. A future, actually what we need to do, of course, is go back up to the splash page. Exactly. Inside of the splash page, inside of the build method, right here in the build method, we're going to be creating something called a future. A future is an object that represents an operation that will be executed in the future. And Flutter, with this little provision called a future, it has it's like a factory class that allows you to create, just like Ananta is typing, a delayed computation. So what we're going to do is a delayed computation. We're going to be saying, wait for 2 seconds. After the 2 seconds, you're going to be performing an operation. This is available by all available by doing a future. A future allows you to do you can create like a promise, kind of like an object that represents an operation to be executed. You can tack on, you can actually like piggyback on a future and wait a little bit, let's say like a network operation or a long operation that you're performing in your application, and you can do that. What Ananta is doing is she's creating a delayed computation that will last 2 seconds using the const duration object. So you pass it the seconds, and then you create like that, the property. Then you give it a callback. So the callback is nothing more than a little method that you give it to that computation. So when the 2 seconds elapsed, it's going to call that method, and then that method is going to perform something. What is it going to do? She's using something called the navigator. The navigator is that specific, is that provision allowed in Flutter that allows you to tap into the navigating capabilities of your application. So we have to say navigator.off context. You ask, what is context? Context is nothing more than an object that has a lot of that helps you represent where your widget is rendered on the widget tree. This context allows you to even tap into higher widgets, like you can go up the hierarchy and tap into other capabilities, like pulling out the navigation, getting more classes, inherited widgets. A context represents a handle that tells you where the location of your widget is. You can tap into other capabilities. So that's exactly what this widget is doing. The splash page is instantiating a navigation by pulling it out of the context, because the navigation gets injected all the way from the root of the widget. So it's kind of like you're pulling it down and then you're using it. So from this widget, I'm pulling a navigator, then I'm through the context, then I'm pushing a new screen as a page route. The way the navigator works is that you got to give it like a page route. A page route wraps a widget, the widget that will represent the next screen. And then when you say .push, wrapping your widget inside a page route, it will navigate you kind of like a route, like it's just routing you to the next page. It's very simple. So Ananta just completed this piece of the code. Thank you again, Ananta. You've been amazing. You've done it twice already. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring you back to read only. Perfect. You're read only. And now let's dissect what she did. So very simple. She just created a future inside of the build method. Remember, when the widget is building, we're just going to be waiting 2 seconds. After those 2 seconds, we're going to give it a callback. The callback then taps into the navigator capabilities, pulls the navigator instance out of the context. Remember that context object, every widget has a context. It gets injected to it by the framework. And then you use a material page route. A material page route, you just wrap a page inside of it and you give it to the navigator and say, look, navigate me to this page. That's exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to be saving. I'm going to be reloading this page again. Just shift R, or in your case, just hit run in your, and that's it. You see, after 2 seconds, we were able to navigate to the next page. Give yourself a round of applause. Now you just learned how to create custom widgets, custom pages. You're able to create one page and navigate to the next one after a little bit of a delay. And you see now, if I just reload again, you will see the splash page for 2 seconds, and then it will navigate to the next page. Awesome. You guys have done so much, and you guys all did it on your own. I didn't do anything. It was all you. So you should be getting the praise because you've been coding this application. Perfect. So you see, Flutter is very easy, very intuitive. And you see, we haven't done like much, and we've already created 2 custom widgets that you can use like as full pages, and then you can continue on like that. And you continue building your widgets, building your application in little chunks. Little widgets, very customized widgets, very simple to use. And you see very little bit of code, 52 lines of code, and we already have a splash screen and a landing page with navigation already in it. So I definitely praise you guys. You guys have been doing amazing. So we're almost I'm almost closing on my time because we're gonna have like an amazing talk right after this. How are we doing? How's everybody doing with the collabs? Some of you following along, some of you maybe. How are you guys enjoying the code roulette? Just wanted to get. Oh, Mohammed's done. Yeah, there you go. We have a lot of folks doing it very good. So Mohammed is flying through it. Perfect, awesome. We're just gonna do a little bit more, and then we're gonna transition to the next talk. But I'm so proud of you guys. You've been doing amazing. Even though again this is a very introductory session, we wanted to make it about you. This is you who are we are here. It's not just for you to listen to me. We want to bring everybody together. We want everybody to be proficient in Flutter and do really cool stuff with Flutter. So we're just going to continue a little more, and then we're going to proceed with the next session. So at least here, I just ran the application. You saw how it went. We just flew right through the first collab. You guys are amazing. For those of you who may have fallen behind, again, this is all the first collab entailed. Mohammed, I'm glad that you're enjoying, and I hope that you join other sessions and other events from GG Cloud Thunder Bay, because these guys are amazing, great team, and bringing great quality content. So thank you very much for joining. So again, that's about it for the first collab. If you guys want, you can proceed with the next collab. You can do it on your own. I'm just gonna do a little bit on that just to kind of put you on the right path. But other than that, then we're gonna we're gonna go to the next session. So that's the complete code for those of you who may have fallen behind. You can just grab the whole thing. You can just come over, copy the whole thing. Again, I didn't want you to cheat at the end. It's just that I want at least to help you out a little bit. But, you can just come over here, do select all and paste the whole thing. If you reload the whole thing again, you should be able to be on that same step. So see, I rebuild the whole thing, and there you are. So you should be in the same spot as before if you follow along. That was collab number 1. If you now proceed, I'm going to give you now the link for those of you who have it or don't have it. I'm just going to drop it right here. This is collab number 2, where we're going to be focused on, please follow the community page, please, because you need to sign up. That's how you get notified of these great events that are coming up. So please make sure, share it with your friends, send the link to them directly. Make sure that you guys bring everybody along. These are the types of things that make the community rich and make us all learn together. We're all growing together. We are all learning together. I'm just also going to be dropping the link again, those of you who may have joined a little bit later, but this is the link to the second collab. The second collab entails building this whole list page. It's you're going to have so much fun building this one. We're just going to start a little bit on this, but I would encourage you guys to continue doing it on your own. There are 3 more collabs. So I wish you can even drop me a message on Twitter. You follow me there and say, hey, Roman, look, I finished it. You have more stuff. Yes, I have a bunch of other stuff to make you learn, to bring you from zero to hero, from zero to Flutter developer in no time, building cool applications, very, eye-catching and very cool and very easy, of course. So the second code lab is going to be based on building this whole list. Same prerequisites, we don't have to do that. And the cool thing is that we already have the shell of the list page. But in this particular list page, we're going to be creating like an app bar. We're going to be creating those custom list views in there, and we're going to be using the list view, which is a widget that allows you to add like multiple other child widgets in there, like cards. So you can see like those widgets and you're like, yeah, I can download it from a library and I can just use them right away. The power of learning Flutter, the key to learning Flutter is to do those things your own and learn about all the intricacies of creating custom widgets, because that's what gives you that knowledge. Practicing a lot, just playing around, creating your own widgets and whatnot. So that's exactly what this code lab also entails, just doing this thing. Let's just do something before we proceed. We're just going to doing something quick. Remember, we created already the list page. I'm just going to call one more person before we proceed, because now we're going to be leveraging the list page that we created before. And then in this list page, we're going to be creating some components. So like I showed you, we're going to be creating like an app bar. There's going to be a list view, a bottom bar, and some things inside of that. Great, Muhammad. You can actually even your code gets saved in Darpad. So if you don't you can close it up. It stays right there, like in memory for you. It's cached for you. But if you create another session, then it will go away for good. You can actually copy that and even save it somewhere else if you want to do. Nav, you have a question about state management. What would you prefer, block, river pod, or just set state? So that's a very good question, because people ask me that a lot. There's a debate in the Flutter industry, in the Flutter community, which one to pick. If your application, you just go by your application's complexity. If your application, for example, like me, myself, I use a mixture of those. You don't have to just go by one. If your widget is very small and it just contains state within itself, you can just use a stateful, and you can just use a stateful widget and use the set state. If you want to lift the state, which is a common term in Flutter, if you want to lift the state, meaning you want the state to propagate through other widgets, then you have to require like another type of management, whether block, river pod. Personally, I use the provider, which is a very simple type of state management, and is used and it leverages the inherited widgets, which is very simple. But try to use not what other people influence you on, is what you and your team are productive in and what you guys embrace. Don't go, of course, if you like Riverpod, continue doing Riverpod. If you join a team that already has Riverpod, yes, embrace it. The choice of state management is all about what you feel comfortable with. As long as your application does a clean separation of concerns, whether you're accomplishing, again, like an MVVM or NVC or MVP type of pattern, make sure that you maintain your business logic as outside from building your widgets. That's how you accomplish like good state management, because you keep it separate. But regardless of which one you pick, you can pick anything as long as you accomplish that thing. But you can do Riverpod, you can do anything. Personally, I do like provider, because it's very easy. And then that's something that you can start with, and then it will give you a jump start and a good foundation to other type of widgets. But you as an expert, for example, I know that you also use great state management capabilities in Android and also in Flutter, of course. But it's all about what, like, for the wider audience, I say whatever makes you productive, whatever you feel is easy for you, it comes natural. Don't like bind yourself to something that maybe somebody else told you, but it makes your life harder. So just try to pick something that just accomplishes good separation of concerns. Thank you very much. But that's an amazing question. I always get it. I'm glad that you threw it. But it's not off topic. It's good. It's a good question. Yeah, Muhammad, again, thank you again for joining. Yeah, again, you can, of course, be back. For great. So 11:38, we're almost at time. I want to do a little bit of an exercise after this, but at least I just wanted to complete the app bar of this page. Please throw any questions that you may have on the chat. Again, this is for you. This event is for you. So let's start now setting up that scaffold. That is the piece that I wanted to show here. So after creating the list page that we created earlier, I'm going to just adding a background color to that scaffold. So it's very easy. So a scaffold is kind of like a container. Sorry, but it's like a more advanced container because it gives you like the shell for a basic full-blown page. So you don't use like a scaffold for a little widget. You use it usually for pages. So the way to do that is the scaffold has this property called background color. So if you do background color and then you type, the same color that we've been leveraging, so it's like the main theme color. So I'm going to be using that. If you save that, now you will see it here that my whole, the whole scaffold now will adopt that color. So after the splash screen, now you will see that the whole scaffold will adopt that color. So it will be the full thing. Great. So let's continue. So after that, then you see that your page is going to look like that. Now we're going to be setting up like the app bar. App bar is another widget that comes out of the box from Flutter that gives you the capability to add like a title bar. It gives you like the way to set up a hamburger menu so that you can expand a drawer. You have titles. You have like actions on the right-hand side. Very similar, like very common, like in an Android application. You have like those things. So the app bar is a widget that goes inside of the scaffold, and the scaffold gives you that capability. So who's going to help me out building the app bar? I'm going to pick somebody from the wheel of names, and you're going to help me out now. While this spins, let me take a sip. Sorry about that. Okay, perfect. Pranav, you want to come up? I know your talk is right after this, but I would be glad to have you come up again, and then you can help us out by creating the app bar. Of course, this should be a breeze for you, but let's be fair, you got picked. So let me see. Are you connected? Oh, I think you. Okay, here you are. So I'm gonna make you read right, and there you are. So now what Pranav is gonna do? He's gonna be assisting in creating an app bar. So an app bar is again one of those widgets out of the box that you can create that gives you those capabilities. So an app bar immediately positions itself at the top as a title bar. You can add a background color to it as well. In this case, we're going to set it transparent because we don't want it to conflict with the background of the scaffold. And then you have an icon theme. Icon theme allows you to set a color that globally to all the icons that you add to your app bar. And then that way you can add, let's say, a common theme. Every icon that you add in there will adopt that color. And the elevation 0 is a key property in the app bar. All app bars by default, they have like a shadow underneath it. And the elevation 0 means that you want to set no shadow, like elevation. Elevation is kind of like how high it gives you. It gives you like a little bit of a depth. And then elevation 0 means no depth. Just make it totally flat and then don't give it any shadow. So that's what Pranav just did. Pranav, I'll have you actually even do the second one now that you're right at that point. So why don't you help us out and add a title icon, and then we're going to be leveraging the same icon that we used before. So now Pranav is going to be adding a title property to this app bar, and the title widget, you can add any type of widget. As a title, you can add a label, but you can also add other icons in there or other widgets. In this particular case, we're adding an icon widget. So we're going to be adding an icon at the top. It's going to be the same icon, just going to be white. And then we're just going to give that to the icon. That's exactly what Pranav did. So I'm going to, Pranav, thank you again for giving us that opportunity. I'm going to make you read only again. Thank you so much again. There you are. And then now let's see what Pranav did. So I'm going to save here. And then if you see, after I reload the application, the app bar, it will be something after the splash screen. Now you will see that the app bar shows up there. Look at what we show. We see a little icon. That is the title widget. You can add any type of widget in here. In this case, we added an icon widget. The icon theme, by adding an icon theme, any icon that we add to the app bar will turn white. Or anything to the app bar. In this particular case, we explicitly set the icon to white, but any other icons that get, for example, like you see the chevron, we didn't add that there. That's actually added by default from Flutter, when we perform a navigation so that we can actually take you back out. right? That's pretty cool. That's what we love about that. So if we, let's say, reload again, we get the splash screen, we get the you know, the this one, and then you see the app bar right over there with an icon up top. That's awesome. That's exactly what we wanted to do. So you see, it gives you like the capability to go back. That's one thing that I needed to just update you on. Like whenever you add stuff to the let's say to the navigation stack, you want to be able to, let's say, go back to the previous one. But in our particular case, you can make it so that whenever you make a navigation to one page, you don't return back from it. So that's another thing that I'll explain to you in a minute. But for now, let's continue proceeding. So if you see here, we get the app bar, blah, 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 and all that. That's awesome. Now we add actions to the application bar. So the app bar up top, we're going to be adding like actions. Actions are another property in the app bar that allows you to add additional actions, like that they will show like on the right hand side. They can show as a menu or whatever, but you can even add just like a widget or anything in there. That's the great thing about Flutter, that everything is about widgets, that you can add a lot of things in there. So who's going to help me out now and add an actions? That is another property of the app bar that allows you to add other widgets like a menu or icons. In this particular case, we're going to be creating like a little bit of like a notification icon, like a little bell. So who wants to help me out with that? Let's spin the wheel. And let's see who's going to help me out. Okay. Bayu, are you still online? Are you still here? Yes, you are. Let me bring you up. And then I'm going to set you up to be read write. And now you're going to be leveraging that additional property in the app bar called actions. So actions is that property on the app bar that takes an array of widgets. You can add anything to it. In this particular case, I just wanted to show you that that property existed, and I'm adding a container. A container, like I said, is one of those versatile widgets because there's no other widget in Flutter that is called like margin. Container is a widget that has a margin property. But you have, for example, like a widget called padding, and that one adds padding. But container also adds padding. So you see, like whenever you ask, like, okay, which one to pick, container, alignment, center, it's up to your particular case. In this case, all I wanted to add was a little bit of margin on the right, which is exactly what Bayu is doing here. He's adding a margin of 15 pixels on the right-hand side. And then that's why we needed a container. You can even do like a sized box, like an empty box with 15 pixels wide or something. You can try to do that. And then inside of that container, I want to wrap my container with an icon. I want to wrap my icon with a container that just gives me another icon with a little bell. And then I'm going to make that icon white. So with that said, Bayu just finished up the icon. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring you back to read only. And there you got your read only. I'm going to save the widget. I'm going to show you here, reload, and then the splash screen shows. We're going to go to the next screen, and here you are. Bayu just added something cool. He added an icon at the right-hand side. How do you do that? Just adding a widget inside of the actions property, which takes an array of widgets, and he just does it like that. It's very simple. So thank you, Bayu, for contributing. That's how you build an app bar with a title, with an icon inside as a title, with an icon with a widget as the actions. You can add anything in there, and then you add the app bar as part of the scaffold, and then it just anchors itself to the top. And that's it. Simple as that. We're gonna do one more, and then that's it. We're gonna be wrapping it up here. We're gonna be doing like the populating of the scaffold list view. So inside of the scaffold, if I collapse the app bar, you see that we still have the body, and the body is just a center widget. Remember, a center widget just center itself. That's all it does. But now what we want to do as the body of the scaffold is actually create like a list view. That's the list view, which is kind of like a scrollable container that allows you to add multiple widgets in there. And then it has inherited scrolling capabilities. So it already gives you a scroll bar by default. You can add a bunch of widgets as an array, as children. And then it gives you those scrolling capabilities. It's very used a lot. So anywhere where you have a lot of widgets to display, use a list view. And list view is exactly what we want to do. So in this particular case, I'm going to do it for you guys. So here in the body, I'm going to be replacing the center widget that is in there, and I'm going to be adding a container. Container, remember, like I said, is a very versatile widget that allows you to create, like, let's say if you want just like a simple container, a bare bones container for something, you want to add a background of some sort, you use a container because you don't have any, some widgets don't have a capability to like color their backgrounds. So you use a container as the foundation, and then you add the other widgets inside. For example, in this particular case, we want to add a decoration. Decoration is a property of a container that allows you to add styles such as like rounded borders. You can add borders, shadows. You add background images. So with a decoration inside a container, you could do a lot of things. Remember, I mentioned that container is one of the most versatiles. This is why. You can use it for background images, add shadows to those things, add borders, like I mentioned. So I'm going to be leveraging this property called decoration. So I say decoration, and then I type box decoration. So inside of the box decoration, let me do it again. Inside of the box decoration has a bunch of properties. Whenever you use a box decoration or a decoration property inside of the container, you cannot use the color. Like if you add the color here, you cannot then use it here. You see, you either use it outside, but if you add a decoration, you need to put the color inside. That is the only caveat. When you use decoration, the color has to go inside of the decoration. So here I say color, and then I'm gonna say, colors.white. I'm just adding the background of that container. Then if I want to add just to match the design, look at the design. It has like some rounded corners up top. So that's exactly what you want to be doing here. You want to be adding rounded corners. The decoration is the one that gives you that capability. So I'm going to go here again. Up in here, I'm going to finish that property. So in that container, you add a property called border radius, which allows you to add the capability of adding those round corners. And then you specify what those corners are. So if you say border radius, and then I say border radius dot only means you want to specify it only on some coordinates, top left, top right. There's another way to do it in all corners if you just say border radius dot all. Border radius dot all means apply it everywhere uniformly. So I want to just add 20 pixel roundness all around, you say all. But if I just want to say only at the top or only at the bottom corner, whatever, you do border radius dot only. And then you specify which are those coordinates. So I'm going to say only on the top left, and then I'm going to say radius dot circular. So let's do 50 pixel roundness on the top left, and then do top right. And then I'm going to do only on the top right the same roundness. So I'm going to do radius dot circular 50 pixels. So now after I save this, I can even remember I can add the word constant there just so that because this is fixed, all the values that we're adding there. I'm going to be saving this, reload my widget from the beginning. You get the splash screen, and then you navigate to the page, and voila. You have the foundation now of something that looks really cool, something that doesn't look like any other application. Make sure to leverage all these little tricks to make your applications very unique. Remember, Flutter allows you to paint every pixel on the screen as if it's a canvas. Like we all say it, Pranav says it, every Flutter developer says it. Take advantage of the capabilities that Flutter gives you to paint every pixel on the screen, and you can make your applications very unique. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys to continue on this codelabs on your own. And I'm going to wrap my session up here just by doing one more quick exercise with you guys because I love you so much. I'm going to be testing what you guys listened during this session just to see how your knowledge on Flutter was while we were doing this session. So please join me a Slido with the code 491853. Let's wrap up this session with a few, like a small quiz where I'm going to be adding you, giving you some questions just to test your how much you grasp during this session. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. This is the type of events that our community should be doing. So thank you, GDG, Cloud Thunder Bay, Ananta, Arya. You guys are amazing for inviting me. Pranav, I'm humbled to be in your presence as well. That's what we should be doing, creating these type of events for the community. So is everybody ready to do one quick quiz before I close up my session? So let's go. Let's be ready. Let's see what you're going to do. So the first question that I have for you, what is the most important method in a Flutter application? Is it the main method? Is it the run app method? Or is it the build method? So it's a trick. It's a trick. Remember, if you guys joined from the beginning, you should be aware of these aspects. So let me see what people are answering. Are people saying that the most important method in a Flutter application, globally, the application itself, what is the most important method in a Flutter application? Is it the main method? Is it the run up method? Or is it the build method? All of these methods are important, but one is more important in the application itself, and that is the main method. Remember when I showed you the main method is the first method, the void main method, the one that bootstraps the application itself. So it's the main method. The run up method and the build method are also important. You will see that later on. But thank you guys for participating. Let's continue. Now, what is the most important method in a Flutter widget? Now that you know that the main method is the most important method in the application, what is the most important method in a widget? It's a method that the Flutter framework calls on your behalf to construct. Wow, I already gave you the keyword there. So to construct the widget. So what is that one? Let's there you go. So is it the init state? Is it the constructor? Or is it the build method? That's right. Everybody said the build method. Exactly. That's why the build method is called by the framework to build your widget. All you create there, your hierarchy, and then your widget comes to life. But everything has to be done within the build method. All of you guys overrode the build method, and then you saw things popping up on the screen. So that's what you need to do. Which of the following widgets, this is the next one, which of the following widgets takes more than one child or has a child property? So I gave you the container, the stack, or the align. Remember I mentioned that there are widgets that take a single widget. Those are single child widgets. They just have a property called child. Or there are widgets that take more than one child with a property called children. But you can add only one if you want, but they take more than one. So which one of these is takes more than one? Remember, can take more than one, like literally take more than one. Is it a container, a stack, or the align? Which one takes more than one child or has a children property? That's the key. Which has a children property? And the answer is the stack. Align only has one single widget. You can add one widget, and then that widget can have multiple in there. But I'm asking which one has only the property called children. Stack is one of them. Row is another one of them, and so on. This one we didn't get to do more on the widget, but let's just see if you can take a guess. Which of the following widgets align its widgets one on top of each other in a layered fashion? I think we got to this one. Yes. Which one actually lays it as in layers, like Photoshop, like multiple layers, one on top of each other, in a cake fashion? Is it a stack? Is it a column? Or is it a row? Don't confuse it with stacking up vertically or horizontally. Think about it in a layer, like a cake fashion. The answer is the stack. The column does it, but it does it vertically. The row does it horizontally, and then the stack does it as a cake approach, like that. Oops, I think I gave it already. Which widget aligns its widget vertically? So yeah, everybody knows. So there you go, I already said it. So you add it either vertically, not like a layer, but vertically or horizontally. So which one does it? So is the columns. I already gave you that one anyway. And how about this one? Which widget can you use to add margin to a child widget? Do you remember a widget that I used to add margin to a child widget? I wrapped a widget, and because that margin widget doesn't exist, I added one widget, and then we applied the margin property to it. Which widget was that? Remember, we said that, okay, some already saying margin, but I'm just going to give it to you. Margin doesn't exist. So which widget is it? Is the container. So margin widget doesn't exist. Container has a property called margin. So you use that. Now the last one. Everything in Flutter is a widget, true or false? Take a guess. Everything in Flutter is a widget. Take a guess. Is everything in Flutter a widget? Let's see what people are saying. Yes, everything in Flutter is a widget. Yes, we use stuff like the navigator. We use stuff like the, like the align. All of the things that render on the screen are considered widgets. But there are other constructs, other library components like the navigation. You also have like the scaffold actually doesn't show pretty much anything, but you add stuff to it. There are other widgets like HTTP widgets and components that allow you to make calls, tap into APIs, make RESTful calls and whatnot, that are not widgets but facilitate the rendering of widgets. But roughly you could say that everything in Flutter is a widget. And that said, Bayu, I think you answered most of them, even though this was not a competition. But thank you guys for participating in this session. I totally appreciate everybody contributing and making it very community-centric, very hands-on. I hope you guys continue with those code labs that are full code labs. I can give you some of those links in there. Thank you so much. Please join me on my YouTube channel. You can watch more videos on Flutter. I'm going to be doing some live streaming as well. So also you'll be tapped for that. You get notifications on that. Visit me on my portfolio site. I have a bunch of apps already developed. And last but not least, follow me on Twitter. There I also announce great events like this, apps that I've been building, Flutter tips, great things for the community. And that's it for me. Thank you so much, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll still be here throughout the duration of this event, and you can just send me any messages and whatnot. So with that, thank you guys. Have a great rest of the event. I'm gonna stop sharing and give you the floor, Ananta.
Thank you so much, Roman. We are honored to have you in our community, and we really hope to have you as a speaker for the next events, upcoming events as well. So after this event, we'll be having Pranav's event. So stay tuned for that. We'll be having a 10 minutes break, which Ananta will be explaining further.
So before the 10-minute break, don't forget that you have to upload either an image or comment regarding GDG, and don't forget to tag us GDG Cloud Thunder Bay and follow us on GDG Cloud community page in order to qualify for the raffle prizes. Now we'll take a short break and we'll be back with more amazing event and more entertaining session by Pranav, and then yeah, let's get going. Cannot wait to see you after the break.
Having orange juice myself, hope you all get hydrated, have a washroom break, and get ready to have another amazing session. Stay tuned.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. Personally, I spend my 10 minutes dancing on the left side. kept dancing, and now I'm back. That's how I spend my 10 minutes.
So up next we have Mr. Pranav Bhatt, who will share his views and explain you guys how to link Flutter with Firebase. Mr. Pranav has been doing Flutter since a while now, and he's an expert. He has already pushed an application on Google Play Store now. So, Mr. Pranav, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.
All right, that was a great talk by Roman before me. And just so that I know everyone is active, could you all just send a thumbs up in the chat right now? All right, nice, amazing. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible? Awesome. So first of all, a little bit about me. I'm, as you mentioned, a Flutter developer, and I happened to come across Flutter because like everyone, I was bored during the pandemic, and I was just thinking what to do, to spend my time. And so I began searching for all the ways I could develop something on Android, any apps, anyhow. So I came across this SDK Flutter, which is an amazing SDK, as you all saw in Roman's talk. It's so easy, it's easy to grasp. And so I joined online courses, and through YouTube tutorials and all of these online videos, I learned Flutter enough so that I could post a simple basic app on the Google Play Store, which I did recently. So these are my LinkedIn links, so you all can, if you all want to grow your connections, and I would personally love to grow my connections because I'm a newbie on LinkedIn. And this is my email ID. If you all have any emails or anything that you want to share with me, I would love to check it out. And fun fact about me is that I like to sing. So if you are just randomly in a mood that you want to listen to someone sing Hindi or English songs, you can go to my Instagram ID right here. So moving on, this is the app that I just recently uploaded on Google Play Store. It's going to be uploaded on App Store, which is on iOS soon. And it's basically a location sharing app. But the catch is that while sharing your location, it lets the receiver of your location know that you are in an emergency. So I was just thinking that, hey, what if I am in an emergency situation and I need to share my location, but I don't have enough time to let the receiver know that I'm in an emergency. I'm not just sharing it randomly or something. So suppose I have only 10 seconds. So I made this happen in such a way that you have an option to click on the emergency button, and you can just share it with one tap via WhatsApp or SMS, email, what have you. So that was the main idea of this app. And with Flutter, it's really easy to do that. And it's really important that we develop useful apps for the community, because when I was starting Flutter, I remember this story my teacher told me, the online course teacher. And she said that in the earlier days, 10 years ago or something, I don't remember exactly, there was this guy who made this app called I Am Rich. And that app did nothing, absolutely nothing at all. And it just, you could open it, and the first page itself would just show that, okay, you are rich, congratulations. That's all it did. And he uploaded it on the Play Store, App Store, and he set the price for the app highest as was available for him. Like on App Store, it was for $1,000, and on Play Store, it was like $300 or something. And a few people actually downloaded it, like 10 people, before it got taken down by Apple. So keeping that in mind, I think we should look more toward developing useful apps that might come in handy for like people in emergencies and so on and so forth. So moving on, the agenda for today's my presentation is that we are going to be looking at basic Flutter widgets, which Roman went through already, but I have some tweaks in it and a new widgets with me. So yeah, we're going to be going through basic widgets. So and then after that, we're going to be looking at animations. By the way, Flutter has a lovely framework to implement animations, like animations like moving some button on one part of the screen to the other part of the screen, or just changing the color of the background, and just converting a square to a circle on your app. It has a really powerful engine for that, and I'll love to show you all that. And lastly, we would just implement Firebase, Google Firebase, which is an excellent service for any app. Like, you can use it to authenticate users, create new users, and store data. It has a database as well in it. And so yeah, let's get into it. So firstly, let's talk about widgets. As we have discussed already, everything in Flutter is a widget, and I think that's the distinguishing part of Flutter. Like, that's what makes it really easy to grasp. Like, right from material app to container, scaffold, everything is a widget, and you can tweak tweak their properties according to your wishes. So yeah, that's the one. I embrace this feature a lot in Flutter. So let's take a look at all the widgets that we're going to be discussing. Firstly, the scaffold widget and the app bar, which is inside it. We just had a look at that, but I'll show you all more properties inside it. And the drawer is a new, it's an amazing widget. I'll show you all how what it is exactly. Then the container and more features about the container, and rows and columns, and a sized box finally. So let's take a look at the scaffold widget firstly. The scaffold widget is basically a widget that takes the space of your entire screen initially, and it has levels in it. Like, one level is app bar, and another level is the body, and another level is the drawer, which you see this little icon here. If you click on it, another page will just slide toward the right. That's the drawer. We are going to be implementing that. So I'll just go back to Android Studio, and let's start. So whenever a program starts to compile, the first thing the compiler looks for is this main method. So we have implemented that, and we have to say, okay, now that you're inside it, run this app. So we have declared that, and inside the run app, we have to specify that it's a material app. So the material app gets all the widgets, the material widgets, like from scaffold to container with it. So let's say material app. And inside the material app, it needs a home property, like the first page, first widget that you want to show when your app starts. So that goes into home. So let's give it my app. And you can see it gives an error because we haven't defined what my app is. So I'll just create a stateless widget, and I'll be discussing more about stateless and stateful widgets soon. And so we have a stateless widget here, and let's replace container with a scaffold. And let's build this app. We'll go into this emulator. And I think a really lovely feature of this Android Studio as an IDE is this emulator. You can just see what you are building. So as you can see, it has nothing inside in it because we haven't done anything inside the scaffold. So let's move on and give it an app bar, and we'll give it an app bar property. And inside it, let's give it a title. And for the title, it needs a text which you want to be displayed in the app bar. So let's give it my app, and let's hot reload this, and there you go. So this has just been implemented so quickly, right? And one more feature about this is, let's say you don't want this my app to be toward the left side of the app bar. You want it to be centralized. So there's another property called center title, and you just set it to true, and hot reload, and voila, it's centralized like instantly. And you might be thinking how I know that there is a center title property. Like, one way is to just go and read the documents that are available online, but there's another feature in this IDE. You press Control and you go to any widget, and you can see a list of all the parameters that it accepts. So over here, I can see that it accepts a widget that is title, it accepts a list that is actions, it accepts a double elevation, elevation of double type that is basically, the shadow which we saw earlier. Let's give it an elevation as well then. So yeah, you see the shadow has been implemented. And let's give it a drawer as well. So drawer, and it accepts a drawer widget. If I hot reload this, you can see this icon. And right now there's nothing inside our drawer. So let's give it a child, and let's say a list view, because I want some icons to be represented in lists in my drawer. So yeah, let's give the list view a children. It accepts children, not a child, because it is a list. So it accepts it as children. And let's say a list tile. This is a new widget, list tile, and it's basically a tile in the widget. We'll see how it looks like. So let's say I'll just scroll down here, and let's give it a title, text widget, and let's say account, like a list style for the user to go to his account settings. So let's save that, and let's see how that looks. So as you can see, this has been drawn by Flutter. It's basically like painting. And let's say on tap property, like what do you want Flutter to do when you tap on it? So it detects taps as well. So we can say that when it is tapped on, just print user type tapped on account. And let's hot reload. Okay, the semicolon and hot reload. So now if I tap on it, let's just bring the message bar here. If I tap on it, so it prints, and you saw the splash screen as well. Like this, it's by default, and you can go in deeper into it. You can change the splash color, like it's currently grayish, but you can change it to blue, green, whatever you wish to. And you can have multiple list styles in one below the other. So I can just copy and paste again, and let's see how that looks like. So we have three list styles all doing the same things, but we can obviously change that. So that was basically drawer, which is a very useful feature for any app, because from here the user can access account settings or themes, if you want a dark theme or light theme, and so on and so forth. So let's get back to scaffold. And as you might remember, there's another level in the scaffold, which is body. And the body is this part of the app. So let's give it a container. And if I hot reload this, nothing comes up because we haven't given any features to the container. So I'll just give it a height of 100, a width of 100, and a color so that I can distinguish it with, let's say, blue. Yeah. Or red. Yeah. Now you can see that this is on the top left, but let's say I want it to be in the center. So I'll just wrap this container widget with a center widget. And as you just saw right now, it's like nesting of widgets. In Flutter, basically, you are just creating nests of widgets within widgets within widgets as long as you can go for. So if I just hot reload this, it will come in the center. And I want to show you all more properties about the container. How can you make it look more appealing to the viewer? Like, okay, you have a simple container. It's not that appealing. So let's say I don't want it to be just plain red color. I want it to have a gradient. Like inside it shifts from light blue to red blue. So there's a feature of container called decoration, which accepts box decoration. And inside it accepts gradient. And we can give it a linear gradient property. And all it does is tells Flutter that, okay, we are going to be implementing a gradient which changes from one color on one end to the other color on the other end. It can be multiple colors also, like not necessarily two colors. So it accepts a list of colors, which is let's give it colors.blue of shade 200 if you want. So one thing is to just say colors blue, but if you want a lighter shade of blue, so you can just open these brackets and say 200, and 200 is the lightest, and let's say colors.blue, and 800, which I'm putting here, is the darkest. So if I save this, as you can see, it has this transformation from light blue to dark blue. And if I want dark blue to be first on the left, I can just shift their positions. I can say dark blue first. So now it has changed, and I can make this 400 so that it looks even more fitting. Let's increase the width of it. So yeah, and there's another feature about container, which I don't like these sharp edges personally. So there is another feature called border radius, which just lets you cut off these edges and make them more curvy. So let's just say border radius, and it accepts border radius dot circular. And when you say border radius dot circular, it just understands that, okay, you want to cut all the edges. And if I say 32, so there you go. It has become a nice cylindrical, curvy container, whatever you want to call it. So that's container. And as you know, container accepts a child as well. So I can give it a child property, let's say text, and I'll say Flutter is awesome. And if I hot reload this, you can see that it's going really outside the container. It's not really aligned. So I can just wrap this text widget itself with, with center widget. So it gets aligned properly in the center. And another feature of this text widget is that you can style the text itself, like text style, which accepts font size and color. It even accepts fonts if you want, let's say Comic Sans, for example, or any Times New Roman. So it accepts that. So let's change the color of this font to colors.white and the font size to 20. How about that? Yeah, it kind of looks better. And there's another widget called gesture detector, which helps you detect touches or any gestures on any widget. Like suppose I wrap this container with another widget that's called gesture detector, and all it does is detect taps or long presses, anything. You can see the list goes on and on tap cancel, on tap up, on tap down, on double tap, on force press start, whatever. It's a long list, so let's just keep it simple for now. And on tap, and you can tell it whatever you want it to do, like just print something for now. You are right, Flutter is indeed awesome. So so now if I tap on this, it prints you are right. So you can use this gesture detector to do multiple stuff, like if you want for it to navigate to another page or change the background color, and anything you basically want, you can do with it. So moving on, let's just remove this container widget and introduce another widget called column. And as we saw, column just helps you align stuff vertically. So let's just say children, and I want a container, another container, and a third container inside our column. And let's give them properties, right? Because they need properties in order to be distinguishable. So let's just say 100 colors dot blue. I'm a big fan of blue, evidently. So yeah, I'll just copy these properties and give them to all of these. And if I hot reload right now, so every one of them has blue color, so you cannot distinguish between any of them. Let's just change one of them to red, and so it aligns them vertically. But let's say you want them to have spaces in between them, because it's very congested here. So there's another widget for that, that's called sized box. And sized box is basically very similar to container, but it has you can just people mostly use it for just creating spaces between widgets. So let's just give it a height of 20 and another this size box of 20, and let's see. Yeah, so you can see they have created a space. So going back to the presentation, we completed the scaffold widget, and let's take a break from these widgets and talk about the state of them, of the widgets. So there are two types of widgets. One is stateless and the other one is stateful. So a stateless widget, it's like once it's built, it cannot change. It cannot change into, let's say, from color blue to color red, or from this height to that height. That's not the ability of stateless widget. That is only applicable for stateful widget, which can just transform in any way you want, and that's their speciality. So as you can see in our tree here, in this huge tree that we have just built, my app. So as you remember, material app runs my app, and my app is a stateless widget, which means that inside it, nothing is changing. Once it's built, it's going to be like that forever. And if I want it to be stateful widget, then I can just go over here, press Alt plus Enter, and just say convert to stateful widget. We'll do that later on when we are looking at animations, because animations change, they transform into one form to the other, like changing colors, changing height, floating around on your app page. So yeah, for that you need a stateful widget. So that's the distinguishing between stateless and stateful widgets. Now let's go back to the column widget that we just created. And so if you look at this right now, this app that we have created, it's all aligned at the top. So column widget has another property, which is called main axis alignment. And as you can see, columns main axis is vertical. So all we are talking about is, how do you want the main axis to be? Like, do you want everything to be in the center, or do you want them to be spaced out evenly, or do you want them to be at the start of the axis, which is the top in case of column, or do you want them to be at the end of the axis, which is in the bottom of the column? So I'll just give a main axis alignment, and I want it to be in center, which looks better than. So yeah, we have just done that in one line of code. We have aligned everything at the center. So this is how easy it is in Flutter. You just create one widget, create another widget, and you just keep tweaking their properties, and before you know it, you've gone from an empty scaffold to a large appealing application. So that's how easy it is, which is startling. So we talked about sized box, and as you can see, these containers, these boxes, they are not separated, but once you introduce a sized box over here, they get separated. There's an invisible sized box over here which keeps them separated. So this was the alignment of containers or widgets vertically, but what about horizontally? So there's another widget for that, which is row widget. And I can just go back, and I don't have to change anything but this column to a row. And I can hot reload this, and everything is aligned horizontally. But now that you look at it, you might be thinking that, hey, you had a sized box between those containers, right? I have this sized box between these two containers. So why aren't they separated anymore? Because that's because I've given them a certain height. and height is vertical, which is only separable in terms of column. But in terms of when it comes to rows, I have to give them a width. So I'll just change these height to width, and voila, again, it's that simple. So yeah, it's really fun. And like we said before, it's very much like painting. You just do something and you see live results of it on this emulator. And if you, so many times it happens that it happened with me as well, that this emulator was just too heavy for my system. I had like 4 GB RAM a few months ago, and my PC couldn't handle. So you can connect with a USB wire your system with your physical Android device, and you can literally deploy your app and test it out on your physical device. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, like I said a few moments ago, developing an app with Flutter is very much like painting on a canvas. That's really appealing to any form of beginner like me as well when I was starting. So moving on, this is about what we just discussed, the containers which are already there for our IDE. But there are certain features which you have to import externally. And like this avatar glow, this is a package which makes any widget in your app glow. Like literally, it looks like rays coming out of it, with of any color you want, however long those rays you want it to be. So we'll I really want to show you how to import those packages from the official packages website of Flutter, which is pub.dev. And let's go and check it out. How y'all doing? Can you all give me a thumbs up if y'all are enjoying Flutter is CSS on Cafe? I don't like sharp edges while designing an app too. Anyone with me? Oh yeah, you just saw. I don't like it at all. All right, awesome. So let's just go to pub.dev, and I promise a lot of packages like which just reduce your boilerplate code to just a few infinitesimal lines of code actually. If I'm Yeah, so let's just go to avatar glow, and there it is. You can see popularity 97%, likes 517, pub points 120. Pub points are just how updated it is with Flutter and their updates. So yeah, 120 is good enough. Anything around 100 is good, I think. And we can just copy this, which has this avatar glow along with the version number, the current version number. And once you've copied that, there is a file in your IDE called pubspec.yaml. And what this file has is everything that it needs to build your app, like from the SDK version to the version of your app to the dependencies, like the SDK, we are depending on Flutter as the SDK. So all of that is mentioned right in this file. And under dependencies, let me just put avatar glow. And after you have done this, just click on pub get. And what this will do is just get all of that code from the website and into your system. So it's doing that right now. And let's just take a look at the app, how it is. Okay, so yeah, let's go back and change a few things. Let's remove the row entirely. And instead of that, just a simple center widget, which has a child of container, which is height 100 and width 100 and color as colors dot. Okay, let's just keep it red. Okay, let's hot reload that. And okay, we are with this. Now, how do you implement avatar glow in your project? So you just go to whatever widget you want to glow to make it glow. Like I'll go to this container widget. I'll press Alt and Enter, and I'll choose this wrap with widget, and I'll just say avatar glow. And there are a couple of properties in avatar glow, like glow color. And let's say what looks good with red, I guess yellow, really hot. And let's say, what else can we give? End radius, which is 100 is fine, like pretty much the size of the height of our container itself. So let's restart the app, and in a few moments it should just show us glowing. Yeah, you can see, can you see that? All the glowing coming out from the container. I can change it to anything, like let's say blue. Yeah, I'm really obsessed with blue, evidently. But yeah, all the glowing blue colors are just coming outside. And there are a few more features, like remember I said that you can see what parameters a widget accepts, like just press control and hover over the widget, and I can see that repeat is one parameter. What else? Duration. What else? Start delay, curve. Let's take a look at duration. So duration is basically the duration of every glow, like how long do you want it to be. If I set it really low, like 100, and let's see how that looks like. I think it would look like yeah, like an SOS signal. I don't know. So not that soothing. Let's just say 1,000, one per second. So you can change that as well. And you saw every second. So that's how easy it is. You don't have to hard code it to get this functionality. You can just go, you can even go to Google and just type like how to make a container glow, and you know how Google works, like it gets the best results. You will just, I think the fourth suggestion would itself be avatar glow package on pub.dev. So you can just explore. It's an ocean of packages on pub.dev, and they all are amazing. So my dream is to publish a package of mine soon, if I come up with an original idea. So another package that we should look at is connectivity. Now, in my app that I published on the Play Store, I'll show it. So this is the app. It's opening, and in that app I had two options. I had to check whether the user is online, if they have connectivity, and if they don't have connectivity, then all it does is just get their coordinates, like longitude and latitude. But if they are online, then it does get their coordinates, but it then converts it into readable location. Like in some cases it even gets down to your wing or flat or apartment number. So that's how accurate it was. So let's say I click on find your location, and it takes some time on the emulator, I guess. But this is not my current location. I don't live in California. But this is the by default set location by Google. So it gives you your speed, it gives you altitude. And I didn't know how to implement these things, how to get speed and altitude. I was actually just surfing through pub.dev and looking at stuff that, what can I just add any feature in this location that makes it helpful for the user. So if the user were offline, only the coordinates, like you would get a huge number in decimals, like 20 points, so and so and so and so. And so that is very important, because I want it to be usable even if it is offline. So let's just go and look for the connectivity package. And there it is. Popularity 99%, which is good. And again, like last time, you just copy it and go back to this pubspec.yaml file. Pubspec.yaml file is your main file for all your dependencies, and you just paste connectivity package here. Then you press on pub-get, and it gets all the code, background code, which it needs to function. So the connectivity is being imported right here. And as you can see, it took 4.1 seconds. And what I want to do now is check the connectivity of the user. So as you can see, we already have a gesture detector here. And now what we are going to do is every time I press on the container, it should check for the connectivity, and it should print whether I am on an active connection or if there is no connection at all. So I don't know how to do that. Actually, let's say I forgot. So I'll just go back to this pub.dev, and they have examples, they have how to install, they have previous versions, all the versions about um, the history of whatever they have uploaded. And now I can go down and just usage. I'll go down to the usage, and I can see that, okay, there's a connectivity result variable, and it gets connectivity. Okay, something's happening here. I'll just copy this code and I'll explain it in a few moments. So I've pasted it right here. I want this to be implemented after a tap has been detected. And as you can see, I haven't imported connectivity. So I can just go and import it right here, and the error goes away, but there is this error await. So this brings us to a whole new topic of programming, which is called asynchronous programming. And what that basically is I'll give you I'll start with an example. So let's say you have built an app that gets daily images from NASA, and after getting those images, you have written some code that detects if there is sun in that image or moon in that image, or it's just empty space, or a black hole in that image. And so imagine you writing the code. Like first you'll write the line as, okay, get image from NASA. Then the second line of code would be determine if sun or moon or space or black hole exists. So this would how your code would look like. But let's say that it takes 10 seconds to just get that image from NASA. And so the compiler will execute the first line, which gets the image from NASA, but it will just execute it and it will move on. It won't wait for the image to come back to you. So then the second line is just checking for space or moon or sun in that image. And if there is no image that you have received, what are you going to check on? There's no image. So that's what asynchronous programming is all about. So in order to, if that happens, if you don't have an image and you still check for sun and moon, everything will crash. Like you'll be shown errors after errors, and you'll have to understand what just happened right here. So in order to avoid such errors, unforeseeable errors, I think you just say await. Like what await basically does is, hey, compiler, just wait for this line to be executed and get a value from whatever this line of code is, and let it store into this variable. After that has been done, only then move on. So I've written here await, and I have to specify async over here. So that just says that this function is asynchronous. And so yeah, so this in this connectivity result, the connection state of the user is getting stored. And I'll just go back here and see if connectivity result is equal to connectivity result dot mobile. So I can even check that if they are on mobile network or Wi-Fi. You know how sometimes you go on Play Store, click on install, and they are like, okay, you're on data. Your data is on. Do you want to wait till you're connected to a Wi-Fi to download this application, because it's a really large application? So those warnings you get. So in order to implement that, this package is absolutely amazing. So let's just go back and implement this. If connectivity result equal to connection state dot. So now I can see there are a couple of options: values, none, done, active, and waiting. Okay, there's no. I have connectivity result. I'm sorry. So connectivity result. Yeah, even that, what we just saw, connection state, we're going to be looking at that in a few moments. So don't worry about what you just saw. It's all going to be explained soon. and you can see none, mobile or Wi-Fi. So I can just put none here. So if connection is none, there's no connection, just print no connection. And else means there is a connection. So if anything else is there, just say connected. And let's just go to our back to our app, what we were building. Yeah. Okay, I'm facing some lagging here. What? Yeah, so let's just go back here, minimize this. Let's see. I'm not able to get that. I'll go back. Oh, the emulator is restarting as entirely. So yeah, it will take some time for that to load back. But let's just move on and look at some other features. I'll make sure to show you all what we just implemented. I think my computer still doesn't have enough RAM after the RAM upgrades that I've done. Anyway, so that was how you get packages online and implement them into your own code. If you don't know how to do that, you can just read those documentations, or just go to YouTube and just search connectivity Flutter, and I can assure you that there's some or the other tutorial for every single package out there. That's how amazing this Flutter community as a whole is. You just think of anything, any doubt that you have, any error, if you're stuck, just go on the internet, look it up, and you will be shown everything there is about it. So there it is, the link for the pub.dev, the official site of getting packages. And moving to the next section, let's just take a look at, yeah, so I'll just ask my let's see if it has been built. Let's see over here. Okay, I'll just stop this. That's how to kill the process. That was the button, stop main.dart, and I'll rebuild this. So it is being rebuilt from scratch. Now let's move on to animations. In the background, the app will be built, and I'll show you in a few moments. So animations in Flutter, like I said earlier, it is an amazing platform to implement animations on. It has a really powerful framework. And for animations, we need stateful widgets, so that every widget inside that stateful widget can move, can transform. Because if we implement a stateless widget, none of those widgets inside inside the tree, the nest, will not be able to transform. So we need stateful widgets for animations. So let's just so I have this question to ask you all. So I have these two types of animation now. One is turning this round shaped square to a sharp edged square with a dark blue color, or this green colored circle to a red colored rectangle. Which one do you want me to implement? Say if you want me to implement this, say 1. If you want me to implement this one, say 2 in the chat box. So we have a 2. We have a 2. Oh, awesome! I thought mostly people go for 1. Awesome. Okay. So I don't know if I got this thing across, but Flutter has an amazing engine for animations, and we need stateful widgets for implementing animations, because in stateful widgets, the widgets can transform from one state to other. Like that circle, it can transform from a circle to a rectangle, and it can change the color as well. So it needs stateful widgets for that. Stateless widgets, no transformation can take place. Like right now we have a stateless widget right here entirely. So let's write some code for for implementing animations. So I'll just say stateful right here, and I'll say my app. If you saw what I just did right there, I just typed stateless, like this, and it just gives me suggestions, and I press enter and all the code is just written for me. So that's a cool feature. And right here, let's give it a scaffold as always. And in the body, I want there to be something called animated container. And this is an animated container is just what it sounds like. It's a container that can be animated according to your wishes. You can change its height, its width, however, whenever you want. Like in our case, I wanted to change. I'm sorry. In our case, I wanted to change in whenever it's tapped on. So I'll just wrap it with a gesture detector, and I'll pre-declare its properties. Like I want it to have certain height, so I'll declare the height outside over here. Double dot height, let's say 100, and double dot width as well as 100 as well. Oh, I'm forgot the semicolon. So yeah, I'll pass this height as the property of this animated container, and this width that we just declared here as the width of this animated container. And so in animated containers, you have to provide a duration as well. Like in what duration do you want the animation to get executed in? So it's a must. Otherwise, the app will crash. So in our case, I want it to be in 2 seconds. How about that? And I wanted to have certain color as well. So I'll say color is equal to colors dot what was we are implementing this. So let's say green to it, and we'll pass the color, which is the color that we just declared right here. And one way is, if you want to create a circle in your app, one way is to just go into the decoration section of your container and box decoration and give it a border radius. Like we've seen it a couple of times by now. Border radius dot circular, and give it such a huge value that it just cuts it so much that it creates a circle. That's that's my way. I like to implement it like that. So yeah, I think we should increase these height and width. So let's see how that looks on our app. Okay, what's this? Colors is equal to null, decoration is equal to null. Okay, we already have an error. Okay, this is a really good error, because one day in the future you might be implementing your own app and you might get this long error and you won't even realize what it is for. Because if I was looking at this for the first time, I don't think cannot provide both a color and a decoration. So I don't know what exactly that means. And if you see, our container contains a decoration property, and in the decoration property there is also a choice to give it a color, and I'll give it the color which we have declared right here. But now if you see, we have declared the color of this container twice. One is here and one is here outside the decoration. So they all refute each other. So the compiler gets all confused. And if you don't do this over here in box decoration, then it will show this error like, hey, you were supposed to declare this color in the decoration field. So I'll just go back and say here is your color, and I'll remove this. And if I restart the app, it should work fine now. Yeah, so there we have the container that we just created, and I want it to be in center. So I'll just wrap the gesture detector with center. And how about that? Yes. Now I wanted to change the color and the height and the width, everything, if I tap on it. So on tap, let's just pass on tap. I wanted to update values. And as you can see, we haven't implemented that. So we have to implement a function called update values. And what happens in update values is basically what we just said. It updates all the values of this animated container. So the height, I wanted to change to 100. The width, I wanted to change to, let's keep it 200 only. And I want the color to change to yeah, so it's red. So I wanted to change to red. And okay, colors.red. And now, as you can see, there are no errors, and I'll restart this. Yeah, and I tap on it, but nothing changes. And why is that? I mean, I'm calling this function right here, and it's for sure updating these values. It's changing 200 to 100. The width is staying the same, and the color is being redeclared as red. So why is it not changing when we tap on it? And that's what you need to understand about state in Flutter, that you have to notify Flutter that, okay, I'm changing some properties of this container. So you have to call a method called setState. And this is how you notify Flutter that you are changing some properties inside this stateful widget, and you have to rebuild the entire screen according to what we have displayed. We have reset the values according to whatever we have set the values as. So if I do this in a setState method and I restart this app and I press, as you can see, it just transforms into a container. And okay, let's just increase its width because the border radius is too much, so it's just staying circular. And let's restart this, and I'll press on this, and it will change into okay, why is it not in okay, I think it's too much. Let's just bring it down to 100, and let's restart this app, and it should turn into okay, I don't know why it's not turning into okay. So what we can do, what I mean by this is that the border radius is, it's not sharp edged, which I have shown in this slide. And to fix that, I can basically just declare the border radius value outside as well. So let's just say double border radius, initial value of 200, and when update values is called, I want the border radius to change into 1, like very infinitesimal. And I want this to be specified right here, border radius. Now if I restart, sorry about this. Yeah, now if I press on this, you see it has sharp edges right now. So wasn't that just amazing? I mean, if you all loved that, why don't you just give me a thumbs up in the chat? Because the Flutter animation thing is just amazing what they have implemented right here. So yeah, awesome. Change border radius maybe. Yeah. We just, yeah. That was an unforeseen thing. I didn't, it caught me off guard as well, but we saw how to fix that. So moving on, we did this, and I want to show you more examples of animations because the time that I have is not enough to show you the vast varieties of animations that you can implement in Flutter. So I have this pre-built page over here that has multiple animations, and if I hot restart this app, so it should take me to animation page. Now you can see there's this guy going up and down, and if I again hot restart this, take a look at this container. Its opacity increases. It fades in on your screen. So it's just a gist of all the animations that you can do. One more example of animation that I have done in my app that I just posted recently on the Play Store is I wanted the logo to go up and down, and this little guy, this logo, and I wanted it to be look realistic. So this is how it looks. You can just, so we discussed about stack, how you can stack widgets on one another. So I just stacked two clouds over here, and behind those clouds, there's this little guy just going up and down smoothly. So yeah, as you saw, the animations in Flutter are really smooth and beautiful for that matter. So yeah, let's move on to whatever is next. Okay, I have another question to you all. We are now on the Firebase section, that we are going to implement the Firebase functionalities to authenticate users, to register them, to sign in users anonymously as well, like they don't need any credentials. So which page do you find more appealing? If you want me to build this, then just say 1, and if you want me to build this, send 2 in the chat box. So 1 1 1 1 1. Yeah, it does look appealing, at least more appealing than this. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you all have an eye for appealingness, if that's a word. So let's just take it to sign in page. Instead of taking it to my page, I'm taking it to sign in page, and I haven't created a sign in page. I have created this file sign in page, and I'll just go here, and I'll create a stateful widget called sign in page. How about that? So I'll just import all the libraries, the material library, for it to create a widget, and I'll just import the sign in page right here. So as of now, our app is directly taken to the sign in page, which should be a blank page. It should be black. Yeah. So let's just give it some look. Let's just give it like a scaffold, and let's go to the body level of the scaffold, and let's just say there's a container in it, and the container has a column. And if you remember, the column takes multiple children. It takes lists of children. So children, and as you can see here, there are approximately 5 containers. So let's just give them that. Okay, let's just start by declaring a container, and I'll go to the decoration part again. Like you can, it's extremely good. Like you can decorate to your according to your choice, and I'll just say colors dot white, and the border radius. I am a huge fan of the border radius personally. I really don't like sharp edges. So yeah, and let's give it a height 100 and a width of 100. Okay, so now there is another feature in Flutter that lets you just find out that what's the actual height and width of the device that your app is running on. So if you explicitly declare it as 100, that can be like this size, but it can overflow on certain devices. Like this, the size of screens where change from device to device, right? So what I want the height to be is versatile, like according to the size of the screen that your app is running on. So to get the exact height of the screen your app is running on, I'll just declare this double height variable, and I'll call media query. And this is an amazing functionality that you can add. Media query dot off, it takes context, the context of whatever there is on the screen, and dot size of the screen dot height. How about that? So the height is now stored inside this height, and I can just copy this and paste it down below, and I can store it as width as well. So I'll get the width of the container, or of the screen actually. So now I can say I want the height of this container to be the actual size of the screen multiplied by 0.1. So like 10% of the screen it should occupy. And I want the width of this to be width into 80%. 80% of the width of whatever size of the screen, whatever the size of the screen your app is running on. So if I save this, How does it look? Okay, let's just change the color of the scaffold background. Let's change it to blue. Colors dot blue, and let's hot reload. So as you can see, it's up above or like in the top left corner. So I can just change that, like we saw, main axis alignment dot center, and boom, you have it in the center. And if you wanted to be centralized in terms of width, so you can just wrap this column with the center widget. Like you can actually wrap the entire center column widget with the center widget, and now it is in the center. Now what we want is this container to have this input ability. Like you can just input your emails or passwords or credentials into it. So let's just create this email, string email, and string password. And what these variables do is just store whatever emails and password that you enter. And I can pass a child to this container that we have, uh, a text form field. And that's basically a form field that allows you to type into. So if I hot reload this, how would it look like? Okay, there's this text input field that you can see, but I want it to be more appealing or customized to my liking. So I personally don't like these lines going toward the end. So I can wrap the text form field with padding. And now what padding does is just space it out from the boundaries. Like I can say edge insets dot all, like all the sides, and by give a padding of 8, or I can just increase it to 20. And so it now it doesn't go to toward the border, it has a padding on all sides. Now let's just, is it bringing the keyboard? Yeah, it does bring the keyboard. Now I wanted to, I also wanted to save whatever I type in. So there's a parameter called onChanged, and it takes the value. This value represents whatever you type into it, and inside it I can just say, just I'll call set state because it's updating the value, and I'll just say, okay, set email to value, and also print email, so that we know what we are, so that we can see live how email gets updated. So if I type P over here, you can see P gets printed over here, Pranav DC Bhatt. So all of it, this triangle gets formed at the rate gmail.com. So that's basically how you do it. And one more thing is, you saw how this entire screen just goes up when the keyboard comes in the screen. This actually causes problems in the future because you have so many widgets on your screen that once the keyboard comes, those widgets will just go out of the screen and you won't be able to reach them, and it just overflows. So I'll actually show you all how that happens. So I'll just copy this container and create a sized box in between. I'll give it a height of, let's say, 20, and paste this container again. And if I hot reload this, so there you go, we have this. And in the second field, what I wanted to do is update the password and print this password. So word. All right. Awesome. So now that I type something in this field, something. Yeah, so you can see password gets updated. So that's how text form fields work in Flutter, but you can customize them even more. Let's say, suppose you want to, you don't want to show passwords like this, obviously, because that would be not safe. So we can just say obscure text to true. And what this does is help Flutter understand that, okay, you don't want to show, and these little dots appear. And if you go deeper into the code, you can even change the symbols that appear. Like I can show a square, a black square instead of these black circles. So for that I have to go more deeper into these files, but I've seen you can change that, and we'll cover that later on maybe. And what one more thing I want to do is just introduce a text editing controller. And what text editing controller basically does is just keeps track of whatever is being input into these fields. So we'll declare those values as well. Text editing controller, email controller. So there will be individual controllers for both of these form fields. So one is for the email, text editing controller, and I can just copy and paste it, and password controller. All right, so that's how it looks as of now. And let's just add 3 containers to just sign in according to the user's choice. So I'll just say container and go to the decoration body again, box decoration, border radius dot circular 32. I really go with 32 all the time. Colors dot what's okay, I've gone with something like purplish, so purple, how about that? And I want it to have a height of whatever the height is of the screen into 0.1 and the width to be 80% of the screen. So that's how it looks like. And let's just save it and see how it looks like. Okay, so there it is. There is no space between these two containers. So let's just give it a sized box of height to, I don't know, 30. How does that look? No, I want to increase this even more. How about 80? So again, we come back to the statement that we saw earlier. It's just like painting on a canvas. I can just increase it to 100 and boom, live results right here. So I'll just copy this container. I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll just copy the container. Sorry. And I'll paste it twice so that we have 3 lovely containers here and a sized box between them of height, let's say 20, and even here, sized box, height 20. How does that look? Okay, it looks good, but we need to increase the space from the top. So basically, I can just go to the top of the widget tree, and over here, I can just introduce on the top a sized box so that it pushes all the widgets down. So I'll just give it a height of, let's say, 60. How does that look? Yeah, it came a little down. How about now? How about 150? Yeah, so that looks good. But now see, the keyboard came up and you see these yellow and black bars that just indicate that something is overflowing. It's going off the screen. And to avoid this, what you can do is there is another property called resize to avoid bottom inset, which is you can set it to false so that whenever the keyboard comes out, they won't resize, they won't shift, they will just stay sturdy wherever they are situated on the page. So I didn't pass these controllers, I forgot. I'll just go to these text form fields and provide controller as, so this is the password text field, so the password controller, and I'll copy this line, go up to the first text form field and pass it right here as well. So the email controller. All right, so that was a live. Okay, I really want, I missed this email hint text that gives you a hint that, hey, you have to put your email here or your password here. So it lets you customize that as well, which is called input. Wait, it's input. No, decoration. Yeah, and input decoration. And you can just go inside this and hint text. So I want this to be email over here, and I'll just copy this and I'll go down to the other text form field, and I'll just change this to password, and I'll hot reload this. So there you go. We have built, almost built the page that I said, except for the text here, which says sign anonymously, sign in, or register. So let's just give these containers a child and a text child, and I want that text child to be aligned at the center. And let's just give it a text. Let's say register. And let's do a similar thing. Let's just copy this whole line and go up and give this container a child and this container a child. So what does that do? So as you can see, the text is not that appealing. It's black, and which does not suit this purple background. It does not come out to the eyes. So I can just go and style text style, and I can just say colors.white, and I want the font size to increase as well. So how about 25? How does that look? So yeah, this looks good enough. So I'll just say anonymously. So yeah, that's how it looks like. And I'll just copy this style, and I'll go down and give it to, I'm sorry, yeah, this text, and I'll change this to, I'll let this be register, and I'll just change this little text widget to sign in. And I'll just say, I'll hot reload this now, and there you go. So we have, what you just saw was a live building of a layout of a page. It's not that appealing because I personally don't like this purple color. I don't even know why I chose this now that I think about it. But that's how you can go around building the layouts. Like start from the top and keep on introducing containers. Use sized boxes because they are really useful. They are not visible, but there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sized boxes at least over here. So size boxes are really something important. Now let's move on to the presentation. And we have okay, so I'll just change the background color as well to a lighter shade. And as I said, you can do that by doing 200 over here. And there you go. So 200 is the lightest shade and 800 is the darkest shade. So that's how you can implement this. And let's just go to the presentation and let's see what we have next that we have to do. So introducing Firebase, and this big guy is just an amazing service that has been provided, that has been built by Google. And what it basically lets you do is just authenticate users, let them sign in, help them sign in, sign out, or register, or store their data, whatever. Like if you have a task manager app, it can store the information about whatever the tasks they are doing, or you can set anything according to the user's wishes. So it has a database for that as well. So let's just check out Firebase. So this is the official website of Firebase. We'll go there, and these are the packages basically that we need. This Firebase core is a package that implements the main functionalities of Firebase. And this Firebase auth helps you authenticate users, and Cloud Firestore is basically used in storing something in a data in the database. So let's just go to this website. I'll just paste the link. Yeah, firebase.google.com. Yeah. So in order to get started on Firebase, can everybody just give me a thumbs up if just in order to let me know that I'm still online and y'all are enjoying the session? Awesome. So because so in order to get started on Firebase, you have to sign in first and go to console that I just clicked on. I have these steps right here. Yeah, you sign in, then you go to console, then you add a project. So you can just, so this is how your console would look like. And I can just go and click on this add project. And whatever this project is, it just helps Firebase recognize your app, and it helps Firebase provide any services that Firebase provides to your app. So I'll just enter the name demo, Flutter demo. How about that? Flutter demo. And it has created this ID. And let's press on continue. Then there is this feature called Google Analytics, which it, you can see all this list. It helps you predict user behavior. It helps you in some kind of testing, and we are not interested in that right now. But let's go ahead without Google Analytics. And as you can see, it is creating a project for us, and soon it will be done. And we'll go back to coding. And I want to talk about landing pages as a whole. So what landing pages are, in when you're using these authentication services that helps your users sign in and sign out, landing pages are crucial. Every app that has authentication services has a landing page. And what landing page is, just, like how it sounds, the first thing your app does is go on that landing page, and it has certain conditions that if it detects a user that is signed in, it will take the user to the home page, or if there is no user detected at all, it will take the user to the sign in page. And that's what I have implemented right here, landing page. I have already coded this before, so that in order to save time. And before this, I want to talk about authentication, how to implement authentication by Firebase. So let's just go back and create this Android app on Firebase. And this is basically, we are just letting Firebase know that about whatever our app is, whatever our app ID is, and everything about our app, we are letting Firebase know. So we have to supply this Android package name. And you can see your package name is generally the application ID in your app level build.gradle file. So if you go back to your IDE, and as you can see, there's an Android and app module here, and there is a build Gradle in this app folder. So if you go on build.gradle, and you look around, you will find the application ID that they are asking for. This application ID, which is com.example.flutter_project. So we just copy this and go back and supply this over here, and then you can give it a nickname. Then you can give it, this is optional. This is more all these SHA-1. This is a code for you have to supply this only when you are implementing authentication via number, like phone numbers, local phone numbers in different countries, or you are implementing Google sign in, like sign in through Google. That is these days. Every other website or an app has this sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook, which Facebook just changed their name to Meta in the past few hours. So there's that. Now the next step is download Google services.json. It's a JSON file, and we have to download this and store it in your Android app module root directory. So I'll just download this, and it will get downloaded soon. Yeah, it's doing that. And what it basically does is get all the services in this file, and we have to save it in our C folder. We'll go to users, to studio projects, and Flutter project. That's my current project. And where is it asking us to store it? Android app module. So we can just go Android and in the app, and we can click on save. So now the file will get downloaded, and it will get saved at that location, and we can just proceed next. And the next part is that you have to copy all of these lines. You can see at this line, just copy this. It basically imports all the Google services. And you have to go to project level build.gradle. So there are two build.gradle files in any Android Studio project. There is one in build.gradle. As you can see, our google.service dash service services.json file just got saved over here, which we just downloaded. And so there's this build.gradle in the app directory, and there is another build.gradle in the Android directory. So if we go back, we have to save this in the project level build.gradle. So as you can see, I've already done that. But you just have to go, and you can see in the dependencies after the brackets, you have to paste this, which I have already done. So I won't do that again. And the next thing you have to do is copy this line and go into your app module build.gradle. So go into your app and go to this build.gradle, which is in your app mod folder. And beneath this com.android.application, copy this and paste it over here. So I'll just go up, and I've already done that. So no need. You don't have to copy this line and paste that as well. It's not necessary for our project, so we won't do that. And boom, we have just connected our app with Firebase. That's what we just did. And so getting back, I mean, we are just a few minutes away from just implementing the authentication services as well. So you can go to authentication, get started, and wait for this to yeah. So it gives you a bunch of options, as you can see, from Google, Facebook, Play Games, Twitter, Microsoft. And what we want to choose is email and password and enable. So for your app, now email and password authentication has just been enabled, and we can add new provider here. And I also want anonymous sign in. So I can save that, and boom, we have email and password and anonymous signing in authentication services associated with our app now. So I want to go back. I want to go to this file called authentication, which I have coded, and it needs to be hard coded. And I just want to go line by line what it contains. So it's an authentication class. We'll use this file to authenticate our users. So Firebase auth.instance is being called, like it has all the services provided by Firebase authentication, and the instance gets stored in Firebase auth. And moving on, now we have this amazing concept called stream. And I have another slide regarding stream. And streams are basically like just what they sound like. They are streams of data, and this auth state changes is of type stream, and it listens to firebase.auth state changes. Basically what this line does is just tell ki, hey, I'm declaring this stream that's called auth state changes. And what auth state changes does is listen to changes in users in our app. So if a user signs out, so it listens to that change. If a user logs in, it listens to that change. Any kind of change in our user, it listens to that. So that is a stream. So I want to show you all a video for stream. So yeah, this is the video regarding streams, and let's just play this. Oh, it cannot play for some reason. It was playing a few hours ago. That's unusual. So I'll go outside, and I want to show it. I really want to show it. Or maybe I can just go to YouTube. So there's this restaurant in Japan where all the food, there is this literal stream of water, and they send noodles on that stream. And there are customers like 10 feet away just waiting for those noodles to flow down, and once they get those noodles they just pick them up and eat them. So that's what streams is basically. Like, once a new data form of data comes, you get notified like, oh, noodles are coming my way. And as soon as they reach you, you just decide to just uh, take them and have a bite. So that's what basically streams are. And at the end, I think I'll show you all the video. It's a really amazing display of what streams are actually are. So this next method is, it just gets the current user. It gets all the data about the current user. Whatever data there is about the current user, it gets stored in this variable. Now, these next 2, 3, 4 methods, they are the actual authentication functions of our app. First is a future. Like, a future is basically, it waits for something to happen in the future. Like, the value will be received in the future. Like how I gave the NASA example, you send a request to NASA to get the image. So you will get that image in the future. So you have to specify, okay, it's an asynchronous method and you have to await for data. So this is of type user, and sign in with email and password. It accepts string email and password, and it calls Firebase auth.sign in with credential, email auth provider.credential. It passes email, password, and whatever the data is of that user, it gets stored in this user credential, and it returns user credential.user. That's how simple it is. Just 3 lines of code. Can you imagine? So all these 3 lines of code help you to sign in any user with their credential. And the same is happening for create a new user. So this is again future user, create user with email and password. It takes email and password, and it calls Firebase auth.create user with email and password. It takes email and password, whatever they want, whatever the user wants their password and email to be set to, and it stores some user credential that Firebase randomly generates, like user ID and all user token, everything. It gets stored here, and it returns user credential.user, whoever the user is. So, and then there is this sign in anonymously, which just calls, hey, Firebase auth dot sign in anonymously. That's it. That's all you need to sign in anonymously in your app. I think what Google is doing with Firebase and Flutter entirely is just reducing code by lines of code entirely. You within 2 lines of code you can just implement the functionality of letting a user sign in anonymously. How cool is that? And of course, to sign out at the end, we have await Firebase auth sign out. That's it. And so that is basically all there is about this authentication file. Just 30 lines of code that you need to sign in and sign out your user. And so I'll close this and I'll go back to the landing page. Where is it? Yeah. Landing page. And there is, as you can see, I'm calling auth that we just saw, the file that has all this functionality in it, and its instance gets stored in auth, and it has a stream builder inside it. It's basically a stream that whenever it gets a new data, it checks what to do with that data. So I have provided the stream to the stream builder with this auth state changes. This itself is a stream that listens to changes in the user of in our apps, and this builder method is here, which gets called every time there is a change in the stream, whenever there is a new input in data. And then we have this conditions if snapshot. Snapshot is basically what it is like. Snapshot is the data that we receive, and dot connection state, if it is active, then store all the data of whatever the snapshot has into this user. Then it moves on. If user is equal to null, then return sign in page because there is no user. But if user is not equal to null, then take them to home page, which I haven't imported, I guess. Yeah, I haven't built the home page yet. So that's what basically landing page is. I'll just create a state less widget for homepage and just let it exist for now. We'll come back to this later. And homepage will only be displayed once the user is signed in. So yes, so we'll go back to our sign in page. And what we want is to call the authentication class that we just looked at, this class that has all the functionalities to sign in with email and password and so on. So we'll just store that over here. Final auth is equal to auth. And now what we want to do is wrap. Let's go back to these buttons. We have this anonymously button over here, which we have, and we'll just wrap this container with a gesture detector. And what I want this to do is on tap, async, because it has to wait for the user credentials to return, and await Firebase. Oh, I'm sorry, auth dot current user. I'm sorry, no. Auth dot sign in anonymously and return. No, it shouldn't return anything as of now. So what it does is whenever it is called, just sign in anonymously. So the sign in anonymously gets called and user credentials are received. And yeah, that's how simple it is. And then we'll move on to the other one that says register. And I'll wrap this container again, gesture detector, and I'll say on tap, await. I'll make this asynchronous as well. Await auth dot create user with email and password. And the password and email that we type in these text form fields gets sent over here to this method. And similarly, we can just wrap this sign in container with a gesture detector as well. And let's give it a child and on tap functionality. On tap, make it asynchronous, and auth dot sign in with email and password. So let's make it await for that. And that's basically all there is for now. But okay, so there's another thing. Yeah, so we see this error right here. So what it basically is that no Firebase app has been created. Call firebase.initialize app. Now, every time that you associate your app with Firebase, you have to call firebase.initialize app before it gets started to activate all the services uh, of Firebase before it starts. So I'll just convert this main function into future void, and I'll make this an asynchronous, and I'll say await for Firebase dot initialize app, and only then run app. So I'll restart this. And let's see what happens. Okay, I'm getting some errors here. Let's just check them out. Do we not have? Am I online? Am I still going on? Can you all just send?
Yes, you are.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go back over here. Yeah, I think I'll restart again. I don't know what's the problem is. I have called Firebase initialize dot. Let's just, okay, I think I should do this. widgets flutter.binding.ensure initialized for that. Yeah. So what? Yeah, you should always remember this. It basically just creates a framework of what is about to happen in the app. Like, it builds a framework for every widget that's going to be created. So that's actually really important. And after that, it calls firebase.initialize app. And let's just try it out. Let's just say sign in anonymously. Okay, it's showing another error. How about because it was null? Let's just go into the sign in page. And yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's just store all the data is equal to this, and return data. Yeah, so we'll do that for everything wherever we have called return data. Yeah, over here as well. Let's see. I think we're going to get another error because, yeah, API key is not valid. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's just go and dive deeper into this. So sign in anonymously. Where is it? Yeah. And it does this. Okay. I think it's taking time for the app to get initialized, because we just created a project right now. So it takes time for it to get, in place. But yeah, if I think after a few moments, if we try again, then it would certainly work. Yeah. So basically, in theory, what happens is when I press on this, and whenever I type my email or password into this, I get taken to another page, like however it happens in actual applications. And the stream detects whatever user data has been received, and it checks, okay, if this user data is valid, if it's a genuine user, and if everything is correct, it will take you to the home page. And that's it. Actually, that's Firebase has made it really easy for us to implement stuff like this. I think a few years ago it would have taken like a few hundred lines of code or something. So yeah, it's actually really amazing. So yeah, Flutter and Firebase are these two products by Google that really make it appealing for new beginners to use it, and make it really easy for concepts to be grasped by for new beginners. So yeah, let's move on with our presentation. And at the end, I think I have these two resources. One of them is the official YouTube channel of Flutter, which they have this widget of the week channel, which posts every week new Flutter widget, and they talk about this widget like in a 1-minute video. So that's really amazing that they've maintained it since like 2 years, 3 years. And so what I did was just took 2 hours separately, and I just binge watched the whole playlist of like 110 videos of various widgets. So that's how you can increase your knowledge about various widgets in Flutter as well, because there are a lot. And there's this amazing course for Flutter beginners, which is we actually covered a lot for in terms of a Flutter beginner in today's sessions. But still, if you want to just get going through an online course and build a discipline to just practice Flutter every day, then this is a great course that even I learned from everything from here. And yeah, these are the two important resources, along with pub.dev, the packages website, that you'll get an ocean of information, and you'll just be amazed the variety of stuff you can get on the web. So that's it. And thank you so much for being a part of this event. And I'm sure there will be more of these coming on in the future as well. And thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Hello. Oh, you guys are on unmute or on mute.
Let's round two.
Let's start over. Thank you so much, Pranav. It was really great and honor to have you here and showing us all the tricks and tricks of Flutter. Having
Pleasure's
you
all mine.
in the developer group, Thunderbird group.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know about others, but I'm pretty sure if you wake me up in the middle of the night, I'm just going to scream widget, widget, widget.
So for those of you regarding the prizes, we will be sharing the screen right now. Who will win? Drum roll. Okay, so the winners are, the first one is Ashna. Congratulations. So the winners, we will get in touch with you all regarding the gifts. The second is Nav. Congratulations, Nav. The third is Chaitanya. Congratulations, Chaitanya. And the fourth one is Mohammed. Congratulations, Mohammed.
So now everyone must be wondering what the gift is. Let's look at the gift.
Echo Dot. So everyone will be getting an Echo Dot. Whoever did the 2 steps patience with us. So congratulations to the winners. We'll be reaching you all out regarding the same. And for the speakers, we would be sharing a hamper for the speakers as well for Pranav and Roman. Roman had to leave, but Pranav and Roman will be sending. Please stay tuned for our future events. You would be getting a feedback form. Here I have opened it for myself as well. So please let us know about the feedback. How did we do? So that we can show more love to the community. Thank you so much.
And don't forget to be part of our GDG group community so that you can attend more events in the future. So stay tuned for them. And thank you so much for joining today's event. It was amazing to have you all and spend the weekend with you. So
if you want to stay back in and talk about the community, we are more than welcome. Now the event is completed.
So if you have any feedbacks, reach out to us. If you want to leave the session, you're more than welcome. The session has been closed now. So go ahead and continue with your day. You're more than welcome.
Okay. Thank you.